don't think DLC would be released on that.
Oh my god, that layout looks sick.
Hi guys.
Hi. We're gonna put a giant X over Sleep Easy.
Yeah. So just so you know, guys,
a long sword, just like stab it.
So my esteemed colleague and cohort, Sir Sleep Easy, is just not gonna make it. He wants to be here, probably, but he's very, very busy with something that I think you guys will be really glad he's working on. So he's not going to join us, but you know what? Even that means more for us. That's what that means. I am very, 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 very excited for our two actually here guests today. We've got streamer superstar Tatsumaki.
Superstar.
And soon to be like a legit voice actor somewhere. Just I can tell.
I hope that'd be neat.
He's a star for sure. Yeah.
Tatsu?
Oh, you're talking about him.
Sorry.
You said my name, bad. Wow.
That's how this is starting, huh?
You're already throwing me under the bus. Okay. Thanks, Bio.
And I've also joining us is esteemed Square partner and incredible content creator ROXAS.
Hello.
Who I wanted on here for a while, and I was really excited to find that he sort of ran in similar circles to me, and I've been wanting to pick his brain because in addition to making just a tremendous amount of content, a lot of his content, of course, being centered around Kingdom Hearts, he does make content around pretty much every Square product, and I am really, really excited to be here, but I will be totally honest that this is really, really cutting into my near replicant time, which I think Bio is playing a little bit too, and
I still haven't gotten it.
So
watching streams all day.
we'll talk about that too, because one of the things that we'll definitely be touching on, in addition to remakes combat, is just Square action RPGs in general, and I've got a lot of feelings right now about Replicant, as somebody who's played Gestalt and even the Japanese Replicant on PS3, and now playing Square Root of 1.5, and just I have a lot to say, and I'm really, really excited, really, really excited about it. But
it feels real. Like I haven't played the original, but the combat for Replicant,
snappy. The original combat, I played a bit of it. It wasn't like bad. It's just if you were to go play it now, it definitely didn't age well.
It didn't age well, yeah. Because if you play it after Automata too, you're just like, oh man, I've taken a huge step.
Sets the bar, so high, and it's like everything just flows so well.
I liked Automata, but there's something like it. There's, I don't know. Replicant feels, I don't know, like snappier, or there's something more responsive to playing Replicant as opposed to Automata or Automata, whatever.
Well, yeah,
it does look a bit that way.
Automata feels really good.
The book looks more fun than the pods.
Oh,
at least from what I've seen.
They both kind of function the same way.
Yeah.
Turn my phone off. Sorry.
Yeah,
but yeah.
No, you're okay.
Welcome to our Final Fantasy VII remake podcast.
Yeah, we're talking about remake.
And for the record, like I probably know the only thing who's the only like non-collegiate topic that I have as much lore expertise on as Final Fantasy VII is Nier. So one day I'll probably just be doing a Nier podcast also. But I don't want to hijack this Final Fantasy VII stream with this, and hijack
your own podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so one of the things that, so we'll just start with story stuff, because if you were to like take a look at comments, takes, and just general reactions to remake within the first month or so, it was a real popular thing to say. You know, especially that last chapter, the first thing you'll hear is, "Oh, looks like it got Kingdom Hearted," or "Hey, we got Nomura," and it's like even Video Game Donkey, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Sleep Easy who told me that apparently Nomura is the one who wanted to keep it the same. Like he was one of the only people who was like, "Can we keep this normal?"
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was a voice of conservatism.
Yeah. Just like which is interesting so considering. Yeah. Like and everyone obviously blames him. They're like the fucking Nomura, and it's like he didn't want to do that.
Yeah, at this point it's been so ingrained in like people that don't like Square Enix that Nomura equals bad that it's just like there's no discussion anymore.
And you know, and it really wasn't always that way either. Like honestly, it was at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, nobody was like, "Oh man, Nomura's a nut job." Nobody was thinking that, you know. Everybody was like, "No."
I mean, there were some people.
KH2 was like the super anime, like that's like the craziest. Like for
up
me,
to that point,
Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah,
but like before that, KH2, like
Dream Drop. That they really were like. I feel like even I was rewatching Emma Luna. She was playing KH2 today, and I can't remember, like I haven't watched all the cutscenes in a while.
Right, because you just skip them.
So yeah, but it's like because I've been like speedrunning it more lately. But it's so funny to see like when the organization first shows up. They're like so dramatic to the point that it's like funny. It's like I forget how over the top they are, and I personally love it because it's like ridiculous, but it's just it fits this fun world that they're building, and it's like it's not to be taken too seriously. But I don't know. I don't think it's like people always point at KH2 and they're like, "This is where the story went bad," and then Dream Drop came out and they're like, "No, this is where the story went bad," and now it's KH3.
Now it's KH3 And okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I played you know, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix in Japanese just because it was available, and I modded my PlayStation 2 to get it. You know, like I was a big KH guy.
Actual PlayStation.
Yeah, and
oh my god, that's fucking crazy. That's cool.
And so I was so in. Like Kingdom Hearts was. Like I can't even describe how nuts that was. Like it was such a bizarre experience for me as like a huge Final Fantasy fan, and like I remember going to the store and like it was the day the games came out, and because that's the way that it used to work, and this game came out and it was like I had seen little bits of it. I saw Square Enix and I saw Cloud in it and I saw Mickey and I'm like, I guess I have to buy this, right? And then and so I buy it, and I'm crying during the music in front of my then girlfriend, who's just like, "What the fuck is going on with you? You know, like, are you an adult? What is happening? You know?" And I'm like, "You don't get it, you know?" And so I had this experience where it was like I was all in on Kingdom Hearts, and it started to wane a little bit as you know. I was ready to pull the trigger on Kingdom Hearts 3 for, you know, about 8 of the 10 years that I had to wait for it. And by the time that Kingdom Hearts 3 actually rolled around, like, you know, the reviews had come in and you know, everybody had described it as this confusing mess. And so I didn't play Kingdom Hearts 3 despite consuming every other part of Kingdom Hearts, you know, lore up to that point, until just recently. And I played through it, and I'll just give you my little journey here. I played through it.
Ooh, okay.
And I really, I loved it until until it started to get to the last 3/4, and the organization stuff just was out of control, and I was just like, I felt all this doom and gloom about. I felt afraid for Final Fantasy Remake as I was playing it, because I was like, I replayed it just so that I could see how bad, like, what's the worst it could be like, right? You know, what's the worst that Remake could do? And so during that last like 3/4, I was just like, I can't do it. Till I make it to the very end, and then I like give myself a moment to reflect. I go through all the stuff. I relearn all the lore I'd forgotten, and I actually I watched a ton of YouTube videos, and you know, bios certainly helped a lot, and and I kind of turned the corner back around on it, and so like I'm now at this place where I'm not saying that Remake isn't a completely autonomous creation. I think it really is. It's going to have a totally different narrative style. I don't think we really have to worry about that. But I'm even like, well, let's say they go crazy meta. I mean, I'm not necessarily sure that's a bad thing anymore. Especially now. Like I just beat Yozora for the first time, and I think
the best boss
that's such a
fought.
Because
any game hands down. It's
such a good fight, and the fight was so good I became unupset at the concept of the character. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I literally fell in love with that fight. Like there was never a moment I was genuinely frustrated. It's such a fantastic fight, man. But I do think it's interesting that you can draw. I feel like you can draw a lot of parallels in like from KH3's release to remakes, because it feels like all of the divisive stuff is shoved at the end of each game.
Yeah.
It's like sprinkled throughout, obviously, like with the whispers, and then in KH3 stuff with this other plot beats. There's a fucking, I don't know, there's like a million cop cars outside my house. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I hear it's crazy over there in Canada.
Yeah, they're on to me.
Yeah.
But no, I do think it's interesting you can draw like parallels between that. And I personally, I really, really don't see them going a Kingdom Hearts route with Final Fantasy VII.
No.
They've kind of already, but like there's no way it's ever gonna reach that level of stuff, because with KH it's been like a gradual air quotes jumping the shark, so it's not as jarring. It's more like, oh, okay, yeah, Sora's breaking time right now, that's cool. Like I'm just like, yep, we're doing this now.
and breaking time is not it's not like Nomura invented that. Like that's it's an anime trope. I mean, it's the whole thing, you know.
I think it gets a bad rap because the second you hear time, it makes convoluted stories. But what I like a lot about Kingdom Hearts is what I like a lot about Kingdom Hearts is that it's always self-encompassing. Like you can't, like it's already happened. You can't really go back to change anything unless you're Sora and then you die. But I don't know. I think that's what happens. I think Fire probably knows more about that than I do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
but I get that it isn't for everyone.
To form my thoughts before I say anything.
Oh, that's fine.
I think it was really that on top of the gameplay that people were expecting a lot out of it. Obviously, because there was a wait. But I think
I think the wait. I
think it's a perspective thing.
Expectations are like something that's super important for any game that you play.
Right.
And so first off, you have these creators and you have these people online that are hyping up, extracting.
K3.
Exactly. Like you have all these people that are hyping up like, oh, this could be the best thing ever. And then you start having, because for KH3, a lot of the kind of the stuff that was like, oh, I'm worried about this and I'm worried about this was stuff that built up before the release.
Right.
And so I think something similar happened with 7 Remake, and I didn't follow it as closely, but it really, like, I know they showed off the plot ghosts early, and that was something that
was in one of the trailers. Yeah. Like,
everyone was like, I'm super excited for 7 Remake, but except for this one part. And so then you see a lot of these creators that say that, And then you get to release, and a lot of the discussion kind of follows that same vein of like a lot of the comments I saw was like, oh, everything was great, but this thing. And so you have this, you pretty much have stuff that's spoken into existence and expectations that are already set before people even play the game. And I think that's something that happens a lot for most new releases at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Take Ballin Wonderland or Wonderworld.
Wonderworld.
Not a great game, but people already made their expectations from the demo. Like I don't know how many people actually played the game, and the
demo really set them up for failure.
All the talking points I see were stuff that was set when people played the demo, which is fine. I mean, the demo didn't make a great picture for it, but it's that thing of, oh, I saw so and so say this on Twitter, or oh, I saw this demo.
Right. So, okay. Moving into what generally we talk about on SEAL Team 7 is what we think is going to happen in Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And that's, that's a big topic. And
very open door.
And obviously this is something where Sleep Easy would have he has 12 hours of videos to say on where he thinks things are going.
Would have informed information as opposed to I guess this might happen.
That's where we're at though. Is that like it's kind of anybody's guess? Like, can you that's nuts to me. That it is really.
I like it. I'm excited.
It is really exciting, and for me, that was the big deal. Is I never thought that I would ever feel the same sense of like adventure and wonder about Final Fantasy VII ever again. Like no matter what, there's nothing that they could do to make me not know what was going to happen. And they found a way to do that I found to be satisfying, and I know it's a divisive thing, but I think they did it, and I don't think they did it in a way that isn't going to work. I think that even if, I think the game could really ultimately feel like it's a successfully told story if all of the characters continue to be delivered as well as they were delivered in part 1. And for me, they nailed just about every character. I mean, there were some weird side characters that had a little bit of an inflated part that maybe didn't need it, but beyond that,
hate Sith.
My prediction,
burning. Let's throw the cat in. Throw him in.
My prediction is that Kate Sith is going to be the most OP character.
I kind of hope so. I mean, I'm just hoping. I'm hoping they make. If they don't let you pick your party once you leave Midgar, I'm gonna be pretty surprised. They're gonna have to let you.
If they model Vincent's combat after
Dirge.
After Dirge, because I mean they
I'm actually excited
for that final boss, right? Well, not the final boss, but
in Dirge.
No, when you're fighting Rufus. Like literally
right, and that's how, and he's combat. Basically, yeah.
It almost looks like they're setting up like, oh, this is the idea we're to have. Where
I feel
you're using your guns to strategically place yourself around the enemy.
I like the idea of like Vincent, you switch to him and you're just in a third person shooter. Like I feel like that'd be really jarring and it wouldn't fit the combat. But I feel like I don't know something like that because I know that's not how Barrett handles.
So my thought of that is he's going to obviously use his gun, but like for range.
Wow,
combat,
breakdown!
Right?
It's an amazing breakdown.
So if you're far away, right, like he's gonna use his gun to push himself forward so that he can do melee combat, right? Or like if you are
like with his claw
triangle, you say again what?
like because in DOC he uses his like claw hand.
Yeah, he has that claw hand,
and so like. Yeah, I'm excited how they're gonna like implement all of this stuff, and yeah, because I mean, I guess Cloud and Tifa have like
Tifa is,
gap
I think,
closers.
Tifa is the most robust character in that game. I don't think they really need to change much about her style at all. Because like
That's a good
her,
point. Do you think they'll change the characters they've already created?
I think they're going to.
They're going to have to a little.
Right. Well, I think we've talked about it a couple times. How I think, I think what it's like is it's going to be KH1 to KH2 kind of, because KH1 introduced the whole action RPG thing in a really like, I feel like I didn't play KH1 on release, but I'm imagining on release it must have been a lot to like grasp, and people even go back and play KH1 now and they're like, oh, this is very like, it's like clunky, etc., but then 2 improves on a lot of that in the combat, because it's like, okay, they're showing you this base, and then they're like, okay, you get it now, we can build on top of that base without having to worry about here's what to do with it. Again, it feels like with Intergrade they're already doing that. I already like the idea of team attacks a lot. I like that.
Yeah, I was just gonna touch on that.
I'm so excited. Like
attacks are really going to open up so much, because if you can link up
like
with
Persona, even
well,
Persona Royal,
it changes how you think about, if they do it right, it can change how you think about setting up your team, because if like certain characters can only use those link attacks when they're in a party together, then what happens when you have 3 characters that can all sync up at the same time? Like,
I never even thought about a 3-way team attack. Holy shit, that's gonna be, dude. Cloud, Tifa, and Barret are gonna have one.
Exactly. Or like implementing stuff from like 15, where like if you're attacking close to a partner, maybe you trigger something. I could see them building like that way.
It's like Donald Fire in 3. I know I haven't played 15.
Yeah, like that.
So like if you're using a finisher next to the person, you just automatically go into like a group attack.
Well, it would change your command, so you would see it and be able to like, use the trigger.
It would obviously, it would operate differently. God, man, a small aside. I'd kind of, I guess, a fun question.
Yeah.
If you guys have, if presuming we're gonna be able to choose our party members again,
okay.
What team of 3 are you gonna roll with? Are you gonna do is it gonna be what you played the first time through? Or like, what's your team gonna be?
I think mine was like Cloud, Tifa, and Vincent.
Cloud, Tifa, Vincent. That's what mine would have been.
I've always been like, I've played it so many times, it's kind of hard to even remember what my original composition was, but I did like keeping Aerith in my party until the thing that happens to Aerith happens. That was,
she goes to visit her parents at the farm.
Right. And
that's what I wanted to touch on. So I write notes. I don't. No, keep going. I don't want to interrupt you.
Well, okay. So and she's in remake. She's a beast, and Tatsu hasn't played.
So fucking fun.
Tatsu hasn't played hard mode yet, so he hasn't done some of the stuff where like have an arcane ward and double magic will like is just like so ridiculously powerful. Like it feels like magic is ultra powerful in remake part 1 thanks to Aerith, and so like she's gonna leave a gaping hole in the party, and if you look
in the original, even
in the original, like the materia system, it's like the stat differential between everybody is so minimal that like technically
you can just move people over.
Technically like Cloud is within a point of Aerith's magic stat, and then Vincent and Kate Sith and are tied for magic, and so they can be kind of like whatever, but it's like materia based, and magic caps out at 10,000 damage anyway, so it's like it wasn't effective enough for that to have been a big deal. Like I'm not saying you weren't losing anything of value, I'm just saying
it's
that
not
you
be as
weren't
big
losing anything of value. It's not going to be a big but this time it's going to be like a big deal, because like not only is there the materia and the actual spells that she casts, it's also
who's gonna fill that slot, dude?
It's also arcane ward. Arcane Ward and the magic related stuff that she had. And Kate Sith seems like kind of a potential character to fill that void. Also, it seems like Kate Sith and
how his main combos are going to work. Like, how are his auto attacks, his basic attacks going to work?
Yeah, and how's the limit break going to work? Is it going to be dice? Like, it better be goddamn dice. It better be totally insane.
A slow melee attacks with Barrett's like arm cannon.
Yeah,
that turns into like the thing. So I feel like they might be,
because I guess he does melee, but he uses a megaphone. So I'm inclined to say he's like a bard. Like, he shouts at people.
He shouts at people. Yeah. So he's got this support role thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm really interested to see how they do that.
And so another thing too that was really cool about Intergrade's combat is, in addition to them like basically just describing exactly how it works in the latest press announcements, if you watch Viz's breakdown on Cosmo Canyon Observatory, he does these hour-long breakdowns of just frame by frame of trailers, and he figured out basically he reverse engineered the entire combat system of Intergrade, and then the press release came out and confirmed it.
Wow, that's awesome.
But one of the cool things about how they're implementing Yuffie is its ninjutsu based attacks, and in classic Final Fantasy, like in job based Final Fantasy games, ninjutsu always had the ability to attach an elemental, like part built into the actual attack was usually an element. Or a status, and so she's gonna have this like status effect and elemental effect thing built in.
See with against the last boss. First, I think you can see on the shortcut menu that there's like a status effect associated with it, and then you can see when she actually attacks, it says that like status effect failed or something, like no effect.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be cool. It's going to be very cool. And what is exciting to me about that is that it means that since the job system was sort of like, it was overruled by materia in Final Fantasy VII, that it's back in this different way. So we're going to see these other jobs and these other characters, and they're going to do things in sort of a more, I don't want to say traditional, but in a more distinct and meaningful way. So all the characters' job class will have a more interesting effect on what they add to team synergy. And we know what ninjutsu looks like. And like, what is Kate Sith going to look like? Because if he's like a support unit, like he's got a shout command. So already we've got this, he's probably going to be like sort of a debuffer or buffer character. Which in an action RPG is really interesting. So I'm super curious to see what kind of team attacks we're gonna see.
Maybe like in Monster Hunter,
just support, because I think Aerith has a couple. Well, you can give some material that does support.
I know in Monster Hunter there's like a weapon called it's just a giant fucking horn. And like, you can hit people with it, but they're like main roles. They can buff and debuff stuff with it.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like, it's much more action oriented, and it's like, I'm interested to see if they do go that route.
If they can make him a ranged character, he just like shouts, and you just see like,
I don't know. Do you think? I'm interested to see. I don't see how they're going to keep him on the Moogle. I feel like he's not going to be on the Moogle in our party.
That's my big fear.
I think he's going to have to, because it's iconic. But like, I feel like I'm trying to picture that thing sprinting. Unless it's hovering, I don't see it. Like, I don't see how it's going to run and not look unnatural. They'll probably have to change the design of Mog a decent amount.
I think they could do it.
Yeah, I could do it.
I'm trying to think of how they do it, because I don't know. I remember even like, despite being a talking cat in a cape, the giant fuck off Moogle is the weird looking part of him. I think so.
No, it is really off putting, because it's just giant.
I just imagine
Moogle.
like switching from Tifa, and she's like, you can run around so fluidly, and you're just running around, and you just like, I'm gonna switch to Kate Sith, and then you're that giant thing.
Well, I feel like
you gotta dodge.
Final Fantasy VII Remake's not even that fast paced though. Like,
I think it feels like it at first, but the more you get into it, it's a lot more. It feels like you can play on more stuff.
Mm.
I'm obviously
It's
speaking
definitely
without
more
doing hard
tactical.
mode. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, most of the time, like, because you can't. Maybe someone's done it, but I think it's impossible to do like a no damage run, right? Like you can't dodge through everything, you can't jump over everything. Like
I
you
don't
have to use
think.
guarding.
Well, that's just like if you were to play the original FF. There's no way to not take damage in the original.
Exactly, which I love.
No, there are there's like 2 or 3 people that have done no damage runs.
How?
The whole thing?
My god!
Yeah, through the whole thing.
How do you not get? How do your other party members not get hit?
Well, okay.
Or is it only Cloud?
So Cloud's the only one. Well, there's a couple things you can do. You can put frog rings on the other 2 parties so that you're just soloing it. And that
they won't hit the frogs.
They won't hit the frogs. So that is one glaring glitch in.
Really? Enemies don't hit frogs?
No, they don't. Like the enemies don't target the non-active character.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. I noticed that towards the end when I was fighting Sephiroth, but I thought that was intentional because I thought it was a way of like over here, like come.
No, and there's ways to. I mean, and if you accidentally switch between characters at the wrong pacing, like you can get yourself kind of hosed. But I don't think anybody's done like a start to finish no damage run and then also done like, in the same run, no damage, top secrets or any of the advanced VR stuff. But people have done individual no damage runs of top secrets.
That's crazy.
Like 0 damage top secrets. People have soloed
like half of those spells. Well, like Leviathan, one of his spells is just I'm going to take away half of your party's health. It's gone now. Like it's a full screen cinematic. How do you even avoid? Do you have to kill him before he does that? Like,
yeah, I mean, if you go to my go to my YouTube channel, you can see I have
go to Clark.
I have a solo Leviathan run that I do, and I think it's like 45 seconds.
Oh my god!
With a nail bat and Cloud, yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
How the fuck?
Well, for a while, and so I'm a big combat guy, and I'm super excited to get into the more of the nitty gritty combat stuff with Bio because I love watching Bio's breakdowns of KH combat and actually I really like KH combat now. Like I didn't like it the first I don't know third of KH3 because I started and
it's completely different.
Yeah,
I think that's the hard thing is like you have a combat system that started with KH1 where it's all like the way that you play it is pulling you down towards the ground, and up until like Dream Job Distance, that's like ground combat was where everything happened, and then you get to Dream Job Distance where, well, maybe not Dream Job Distance, but like especially
KH3 especially
like it doesn't matter where you are because you can guard, you can use items, you can use anything on the ground.
Dash, yeah. Which I was always the annoying part of air combat. It was a risk versus reward thing, even in the earlier games, because it's like if you're in the air, combos were always faster, but you can't do certain things. And then you get to 3, and I don't really understand the complaints where it's like I'm in the air too long. It's like, yeah, but you can do. I'm never like fuck if I wasn't in the air.
That was something that was an expectation that was set before they actually played the game.
Yeah.
There was like demo and premiere events, but like a lot of people were like, "Oh, like if this is," they looked at it through the lens of like previous games. That's pretty much what happened.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'm standing by this. I feel like intentionally or not, I feel like Remake pulls a lot from KH1 specifically.
Well, it's the same. It's the same battle designer. Like the battle director is the same.
Okay. The only reason I'm saying that is because at least early on in KH1, you gain mana back by dealing combos, and then it's smarter to like if you don't, you can either hold the mana or use it, right? Yeah. And you have like these command moves you can do like Sonic Blade and stuff, or you could do spells.
Yeah,
and then you pull out. It's not the same.
Yeah,
but it's not. Listen, I'm not saying it's the same thing.
Okay, let it be known, guys. Tatsu thinks that it's the same when it's clearly
everyone
not.
I say this to, they're always like, look, I'm saying, look, it makes sense, okay?
Okay, all right. I'm gonna pull the conversation back a little bit here so that Tatsu doesn't take it from us. But okay, first of all, hello everybody on Twitch. Thank you all for being here. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here. I am dealing with a little bit of a migraine today, and so I am not my super cheery self, and I'm sorry for not like we'll say leading this conversation with the same grace that you've come to expect from me. But I do want to stop 40 minutes into this podcast and just say, hey, I love all of you. Please stop what you're doing. Go over to Tatsu's Twitch channel and subscribe and gift subscribe as much as possible. Do the same to BioRoxas and also follow BioRoxas on YouTube. And then if you want to do the same for me, feel free. But I'm just here.
Do it for him. No, do it for him right now.
I'm just trying.
Go do it.
I'm just trying, trying to live this life. I would actually like to give some floor time to actually to each of these esteemed members to tell us real quick what they do. So Tatsu, why don't you tell us what you're all about while they, do their subbing.
Skittle.
Oh, Skittle.
Getting hit by Skittle. It got taken out.
Skittle. You're the best.
Skittle, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, it was Tatsu? Okay. Thank you, Tatsu.
It was
for
me.
making Skittle do that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it was me. I told him. I told her too. Well, you better fucking do it. I am a streamer. I make videos sometimes. When it dawns on. Thank you. I stream pretty much like every day. I stream almost like all the fucking time. I play a lot of Kingdom Hearts games, but I also I'm a variety streamer, I recently played through the entirety of the FF7 compilation. And I'd never played through any of it before. So that was really fun. And I've never played FF8 either, and I'm going to be playing that next. And I do that, and I do a lot of different stuff weekly with all my friends, like Shibuya Gato and Tyler. There's my plug.
It's great. And you also are doing some fun things, like you read through Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I should probably advertise that.
Final Fantasy VII novels. I actually really enjoy that. So I strongly recommend you.
I have the book right here.
Yeah.
I've been reading through FF7 on the way to a smile. I've been doing live readings of it. It's not like I'm doing like an audio book. I do voices and stuff, but I give like my thoughts and stuff on it as I'm reading through it, because it's my first time reading through it as well. And I actually have the publisher's permission to do that, which is pretty neat.
That is very neat.
If I get in trouble, I got the receipts. I'm gonna that.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah. Well, I messaged them on Twitter, and they're like, "Yeah, that should be fine." I was like, "Sweet, thanks." Like, who are you?
That sounds like permission to me.
Some fan account.
Yeah, I'll take that.
The crazy Nomura account.
We're about
a fan account on Twitter that like pretended they were a person until they got to like 10,000 followers. And then they're like, "Oh, by the way, I'm not this person. I just like I wanted to just pretend that I was." And everyone was like,
"What the heck?" Get tricked. Oh my goodness.
Well,
I'm halfway through the book right now. We just finished episode Barrett.
Oh, such a good episode.
Anaki next, which is really
another
good.
Great episode. Yeah.
I'm excited for. I love so much that in the book they call, like especially they call it Nanaki.
Mm-hmm.
I've never understood why everyone calls him Red 13 after they find out his name. I've always found that weird. Maybe they're I understand calling him Red as a nickname, but being like, "Oh, hello, Red 13," like that feels so inappropriate because it was like his name is an experiment. I don't know.
It's an organization and a failed Versus title also. Okay.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
Bio's turn.
It's me.
Bio's turn.
I don't know what I do. I make content on YouTube.
You
It
do
changes all the time.
really good content too.
Really good content.
I'm
It's
known
so
for
fucking good.
detailed analysis on like animations and like extrapolating mechanics and combat off of that for like future games. I haven't done that in a while because I'm tired, so I'm sorry. But if that interests you,
well, there's not as
subscribe and
much
maybe
to.
one day
Well,
I'll make more.
Well,
You do
once
when
we
there's
get a little
stuff
bit
to
more,
theorize.
when we get a little bit more 16, I think you're gonna come in real handy for that.
Yeah. I'm so excited for that.
Dude, I mean, the second
that's another game that actually is really looking like it's not like focusing on air combat, but there's a lot of stuff that's showing that both ground and air combat is becoming viable, which seems like a trajectory that like Square Enix is moving towards. Of like, we've always had gravity, right? And so they're playing with this idea of like, well, what if we don't have gravity? Which is like weird, but I like that there's some new dimensions coming to combat that are different and new, and that's fun.
And Forspoken as well. I think you're going to have a lot to talk about E3, because I think the combat dynamics of a couple of games are going to be widely talked about.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So Forspoken, which I'm really excited about. I'll be honest, I might be a little bit more excited about that than 16 right now. What is that? Forspoken is a Square Enix game.
Oh God!
It was originally called Project Athia.
Oh, this was that tech demo they showed off,
Hold
right?
on.
For the PS5.
Project Athia, yeah.
Yeah, this one. Oh, this game looked fucking crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, the last like 6 months, I don't remember anything. So,
what do you?
You've been in
Tales.
A busy boy.
You've been a busy boy, and we appreciate you even taking the time to talk to us. I thought it was going to get a hard no from you. I had to
as soon as
lure
I saw
you.
DM, I was like, yes,
No,
I'm in.
I had to lure you with the promise of talking to somebody that didn't show today.
No. Bio's taking requests. It'll be on all of your channels right now. Send submissions immediately.
I gotta get out of here.
Bio, you have a video premiering soon, don't you? You have a video.
Yeah, I do.
It's in 14 hours.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people don't like cutting up their stream highlights. I think it's so cool to like start at the beginning, see where you work. Well, for me personally, it takes me like months to get through a game. So it's so cool to see like where I was and then like seeing all this change as you move towards. It's so cool.
I don't understand how you get those done so quickly. Like you'll finish a thing, you're like, oh, I'm working on some highlights, and they're like 4 hours long. You're like, yeah, I just threw it together.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, whenever I do highlights and I try to get it to like 15 minutes, I'm like, this is like, bro,
it's so much work. It really is a lot of work, and and I'm really lucky. At least like my fan group is like just they're like the least entitled people that I've ever known. Like they're so happy to have anything from me, and I feel like really lucky to have them. But I know a lot of groups, like I go to, just the bigger you get, the more people are like, oh man, it's been 5 hours. Where's your next 5 hours of content, sir?
Yeah. I think that's contributing to why I felt recently. I've been like, oh, I think that's why a lot of people even are like, I'm not doing enough, because they're comparing themselves to these people who probably have editors. Which isn't a bad thing.
No,
like if I could afford an editor, I'd absolutely get one. But
yeah,
I've been considering moving and hiring someone to do stuff.
Well,
honestly, I mean, if it frees you more time to do what you like to do, then why not? It doesn't mean you can't. Not also make videos.
I mean,
yourself as well.
If you're ROXAS and you've got that kind of ROXAS money, like I say, do it.
Yeah,
the
thousands and thousands of dollars,
bro. Dude, no, listen. I know. Listen, all those breakdowns. Listen.
So
I'm only friends with you for your money.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. Sorry to break it to you live, but
I'm sorry to break it to you live. Be friends with me.
Uh-oh.
I mean, Okay, so Final Fantasy VII Remake. What? Actually, before I move on,
I wrote a note down.
You wrote a note down?
You wrote a note
to bring up if we had some time to talk about it.
I mean, dude, I'm not talking about anything. I don't even know what my life is. So I remember what I was going to do. I was going to introduce myself.
Go ahead. Oh my god.
Please do that. Yeah. Is anyone else here? No, keep going.
It's Friday, and
oh fuck, it's Friday.
It is Friday. Yes. And tomorrow
where'd the week go?
Tomorrow morning, I'm interviewing with somebody on European time and East Coast time. So I'm going to be real early in the morning. I'm going to be doing recording for a podcast. I'm super excited about a good podcast that
awesome.
You guys I'll release later, but that will come out the 24th. But so I'm a little out of it, and so I've been losing it. But I am Schrodinger's baby seal, and I focus on Final Fantasy VII Remake community content. I have I'm multi-degree educated in philosophy and mythology, and so a lot of my breakdowns, a lot of my takes come from that perspective, particularly Abrahamic lore and mythology. So Judeo-Christian, Arabic lore, and Kabbalah, which has a lot of there's a lot of Kabbalah lore juice all throughout Final Fantasy VII Remake and Near Replicant, which I want to talk about with all of my heart, but this is SEAL Team 7, so we'll have to save that till the end. So before we get into the main topic, which I wanted Bio to sort of explode on, which is Remake's combat system, let's hear his note.
You got a note?
So 2 seconds. I wanted to bring this up when you were talking about you have that sense of adventure for 7 Remake moving forward, because it kind of ties in with that expectation thing again of through 7 Remake, a lot of us we're expecting a remake, a remaster, and so you hit all these points and you're like, okay, cool, this is supposed to come up next, this is coming up next. Oh, that's weird, that didn't happen in the last game, but okay. And then it's this slow burn as you move up to the end where you realize, oh,
wait,
everything from here forward, I don't know what's happening. And so even if you played their original, moving forward, you don't know where they're going, or obviously there'll be some things that have to maybe be touched on, but I don't know, that I'm excited because even if they hit all the same plot points, you don't know if they're going to or not, and so there's that sense of mystery, and I think that's where all that excitement for me comes from. It's they could go through the entire game and just rehash the original 7, but because of the ending of 7 Remake, it's still going to feel new because
you're going to be like, when's it happening? It's coming in soon. And then I feel like they're going to be a lot of allusions to stuff with Aerith. And I think it's going to be interesting from a player perspective because players, we know what's going to happen, right? So I feel like even saying, hey, things might not be different now, I think a lot of players are going to go into it going okay, I'm going to do, if there is any option, if there is any amount of choice in the game, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen. And then I think it's interesting to see it ultimately if that would pay off or not,
right?
Or even how Cloud and people would react to different situations where it's it seems it might happen, or if it doesn't happen, okay, does that mean she's good for the rest of the entire thing?
I've held on to this belief since the start of since I played Remake, that I think it would be so heart-wrenching to go through this whole story of oh, we can change our fate, we can move forward, and then you get to this point where you're oh no, Aerith has to die, and so you see Cloud knowing that he could save it,
right,
but also knowing that to save everyone else, he has to let her die.
Well,
and I think
if she hadn't,
so much.
if she hadn't died, they would nothing would have like I don't know how you're supposed to fix that situation. Like Aerith died on purpose because she's like, okay, I need to like deal with this.
I think that'll make that hit so much harder with Cloud knowing that has to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm excited for it.
I'm excited too. I think there's even if it turns out the same way, right? And we're all just talking about Aerith dying, right? So like how Aerith dies is going to be more dramatic no matter how you slice it at this point, because we've all had that hope that you know, she might live. And a lot of people,
and I think that's what the Zack cutscene is really trying to emphasize.
Yeah, and a little
at the end.
It's a little weird, like, because there's this part of you like, oh man, they better kill her, and then you're like, wait,
yeah, right,
wait,
a little bit like,
wait, why do I want this person to die? You know, and because
Cloud falling from the sky.
and you know what they're doing though is they are. It seems like almost like they're heavy-handedly trying to, you know, give us this hope just to take it away from us. And I think it'll probably end up being more complicated than that. But again, for me, like, if the character moments, you know, are something that they continue to nail with character development, like the ins and outs of how it all happens isn't that big of a deal to me. Like, you know, I do have this like want to have the experience the way that I had it back in '97, but also I'm okay if, you know, for some reason the you know, if they do it a little different, if it ends up, you know, happening a later way down the road, or it ends up like a different character dies, I'm okay with that resolution as long as they've done their due diligence developing the character for me. So I've had those character moments, you know. So
I was really expecting like the bait and switch with Barrett. I was really like, oh, he's dead now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really like, I was like, oh my god, because I was like, it makes sense. That's why they made him such a good character in this game.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing, and that was a little cheeky that they did that, you know. That felt a little heavy-handed, but I also think it addressed one of the complaints that a lot of people had, that was like, I felt like they were insulting me as a purist by creating the meta, you know, this meta commentary that we're supposed to be the purist whispers, and that's what, you know, like, the whispers weren't meant to be antagonized. The whispers were not the enemy, you know.
It seems like
they literally saved
keeping balance.
Barrett's life. Like, they saved the party's life.
Not supposed to happen.
Yeah, they saved the party's life several times. So if you're being conflated with the whispers as a purist fan, you're also being conflated with saving the lives of the party. It's just this weird take that people had, you know. But so okay, let's get to it. Combat.
Yeah, combat.
What you know, it you know, people are like, oh, it felt kind of like Kingdom Hearts. Not at all to me. It did not feel that way at all to me. It felt like it's its own thing.
I've been playing Kingdom Hearts for so long.
Yeah.
No, it didn't feel like Kingdom Hearts at all.
Yeah.
I think initially people were like, oh, this is little Kingdom Heartsy, but then once you really figure out what the combat is like and you understand how it works, it's like, it's nothing like Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
It's just what happens. It feels like, yes, you can dodge attacks and block, and etc. and switch attack forms and the stuff you can do outside of selecting commands. But that feels kind of very much like it's just kind of not fluff, but it's just kind of like it's just there to like something's happening,
right?
Instead of just standing and waiting for something to charge up. Yeah.
And, you know, it was a weird, you know, like the ATB thing, like needing to have the ATB. It was a weird, I think, compromise between turn-based and action-based, but it still felt very action-based. Like, and them, did you ever try the classic mode at all? Either of you?
Not.
It felt too slow, and I think
terrible.
I'm interested in how they'll implement classic mode with normal mode, because it was only for easy difficulty, and so like, yeah, I touched it for a second, but it auto plays for you. But if you move the controller, or if you press something, then you take back control. So it's this weird like. I feel like if they actually lock
kind
you
of
out,
wait and cycle through a menu.
Pretty much your job was to kind of watch. Yeah, it was taking you out of combat and just into the tactical side. And so like Cloud would attack for you, he would guard attacks, and then you would be the one that goes into the command menu and chooses an attack and all that.
Yeah. And like most people that tried that because they didn't want an experience that was so dramatically different from their original Final Fantasy VII experience, found it lacking. That was the general consensus. But it's possible that the normal mode will help. But not having a hard mode with it, like it locks you out of content. And so there's not a lot of extra content, but there's enough that it felt like, honestly, like the best part of the game for me was playing through it again in hard mode. And that was one of the things that I was gonna bring up is moving forward. Do you think they should do that again? Do you think they should make it so that hard mode is unlocked through the play of normal mode?
I didn't realize they did that.
Yeah, you have to play it on normal once.
Maybe. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I feel like critical mode in Kingdom Hearts, that was always available in those. That was only a final mix thing.
No, in Kingdom Hearts 3, you could start with critical mode.
Right, but that wasn't a thing until they patched it in Remind.
Oh, okay.
Crit wasn't a thing until recently.
Okay.
I forget. I feel like, is there one of the games? No, you can start on hard.
You had.
Do you have to unlock it?
Yes. Not. Okay, so Dream Drop Distance was one you had to unlock critical mode. And then 0.2 had the same thing where you had to unlock critical mode, I think.
I feel
everything else didn't have a crit until like the FM versions.
I think I don't really have a problem. I think I kind of like it where it's hard. I think hard mode being unlocked after the fact, I like, because that means you can implement things you've already taught the player and not feel bad about them not knowing about it. Like you can implement, if maybe hard mode. I don't like, if for whatever reason,
there's a chance that someone would jump into hard mode. Like if you give someone access to easy mode, normal mode, hard mode, and someone jumps into hard mode, like Seven Remakes hard mode is like they want you to have like played through the game and understand the mechanics before you jump into that.
And so they forced it. Like the difficulty spike is too high to have done it any other way. It would be impossible for you to defeat even chapter 1 in hard mode at level 1. That's the way that it's scaled. And so moving forward, it seems like the only options they have are basically do the same thing or allow level carryover. And how they're going to deal with that is a big problem as it is. And of course, that's not something that Kingdom Hearts ever has had to deal with. Kingdom Hearts has never had to deal with that.
I can see them starting. Okay, I could see a system like, oh, if you have save data from 7 Remake, here, pull over some materia from that game, or here's a set of items, weapons, or something that'll like move over. But I can't see them saying like, oh, and I can't even see them like starting you at level 50 for the next game. Like it just
I feel like we're gonna be level. What I would like is level 1. All of your materia is back at base level, but you keep all of your materia. I don't know if that'd be too much, but I feel like that only kind of makes sense, because what are you gonna have to re-get the summons? For summons, I feel like summons are gonna have to get carried over.
My idea
right?
is
Like, I
that
don't know.
Intergrade is going to show Yuffie stealing all the materia and selling it,
Which,
and that's
I mean,
how it moves into part 2.
yeah, that's a common, that was one of the first things that that started to circulate, is like, well, what would be the perfect way to reset? It might involve Yuffie. And then when Yuffie showed up in Intergrade, I was like, oh, that's true. For me, it feels like the one way that you could, I think, get through this, how do I start a new save file, or can I carry over materia, is only allow materia and level carryover for hard mode. Like, make it force you to do hard mode, and then if you do normal mode, you just start out at like, level 12 with like a base set of stuff, or level 25 or something like that.
Or they could start you as like, what if they started you as Zack? And that's like the opening tutorial for that, because there'll be people that jump in on part 2, right? There's always gonna be people that jump in the middle.
Yeah.
So
you bring up something super interesting. How do you think Zack is going to appear in this game?
I wonder if they're even going to meet. I wonder if it's going to be something like you're always going to be waiting for, then he dies anyways. But I feel like they're going to have to make a meet.
I wonder if it's an alternate, like, I don't know. I don't know enough about like part 2 discourse or discussions, but what if they did something like they keep like flashing to another version of reality, and that's where Zack lives?
And that's
I can't see how they
then if
that's the big problem, isn't it? That's the big problem.
If they changed fate, wouldn't that mean Zack has been in Midgard this whole time, or like somewhere?
Right? And it's just like you have all these characters that have moved already through all of remake with the fact that Zack's dead, and now he's not. So is reality good? Right? So is it like
maybe the characters that were inside when Fate changed retain themselves, but then outside of it, it's different? I don't know.
Okay, so think about it this way. All right, so there's a couple ways they could go with it. One, it could just be that the Terrier stamp timeline and the Beagle timeline are totally independent of each other, and you do like what Bio just mentioned, which is something akin to Final Fantasy VIII, where you like go through lagunas, like version of events. Will you just like switch into Zack time, and you're in the Terrier timeline, and it tells like two alternate versions of the story. That's a possibility. That seems very.
I feel like they're not going to do that.
It seems very intense.
Sorry, I haven't played it yet.
Okay, so essentially,
I haven't either. But I'm like, that's probably, I don't know.
I spoiled absolutely nothing of value for you. Don't worry.
Okay.
So that's a possibility. The other possibility is, and there's even more possibilities that like I can't even count how many actual theories there are for this. That's the value of a game with that kind of ambiguity in its ending. But let's say that they were in the Beagle timeline, and then whatever happened with the Whispers had this sort of like time is a flat circle effect, and retroactively changed the past, and they've now stepped into that newly created timeline, and that would be the Terrier timeline. Now, in the Terrier timeline, we see the Whisper Dome like explode during Zack's final stand, right, which is 3 months before the events of remake. So that means that the events of remake have now happened without the intervention of the Whispers, which means that the entire party is dead several times over because the Whispers saved their lives. So that means that the Beagle party has just now entered the Terrier timeline alive. And
I love that
they're dogs.
The universes are
we've got dogs, and
we are in the Beagle timeline.
Yeah, we're in Beagleville, and then once Final Fantasy Dream Drop Distance comes out, we'll be in Chihuahua, And exactly. Yeah.
No, it's a whole organization of dogs.
Hey, yeah, there will be 13 dogs. 13
Chihuahuas
dogs.
Are cool. What the heck?
Red 13. Huh? Exactly.
Bio doesn't like Chihuahuas. Canceled.
Oh, whoa. That's a hot take, cool, Bio.
How dare you? Anyway.
Anyway, so that's a possibility.
I didn't realize how much of a mess it was until you put it that way. I'm like, oh no.
Well, yeah, because like
it's confusing because it's just like, what? How would you had these characters that you've created, right?
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, they don't.
So did they go through that stuff?
So if they went through that stuff and then like they came out the other end and now they're in this changed timeline, but they retain all their memories, they retain their experiences, we could at least rule out. Marlene's probably still alive, yeah. That would be.
We don't know though.
You know what?
Is there another Barrett there? Has Barrett been gone?
Okay, so that's my point, right? So that's my point.
Where's Beagle Barrett? Where's Terrier Barrett?
Terrier Barrett was stabbed by Sephiroth and not revived by the Whispers.
Right.
And they were all crushed by like the helicopter on the freeway. Like they were super dead without the Whispers. They're trash.
They just stepped in. They're like, well, they're all dead now. Anyway.
They're horrible at being alive. And they should be thanking the Whispers all the time. But instead they went and fought them like idiots because Sephiroth was like, I'm waiting, Cloud. And like, so they just
were like, I gotta get him. It's like,
I gotta get him.
Hey, do you want to beat up fate itself to get to this guy? It's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, whatever. They just saved my life a bunch of times.
That is the Sephiroth, right? From the original? Like that, for all intents and purposes, that's like...
Dude, we don't even know, right?
I feel like it has to be.
Well, he's informed.
He's too powerful. He knows too much.
Okay, and there's more stuff that...
Aerith.
Yeah, both Aerith.
That's the future Sephiroth, though, right? Like, I don't think we'll see that one until much later.
Probably the future Sephiroth.
Well, past Sephiroth. Future Sephiroth?
So
the one from the original, that's like the exact same Sephiroth, in my opinion.
Okay, so...
I think it's that Sephiroth.
Interesting thing is that in the Japanese version, once you get to the edge of creation scene, so after the highway, it's the first time that Sephiroth refers to himself as Ore instead of Watashi, which is like a more formal pronoun. And the only time he's ever done that was before the Nibelheim incident in Crisis Core. And what it means is that he's referring to himself as like a sentient individual. And after the Nibelheim incident in all the Japanese versions up to this point, he changed his pronoun after the fact as a way of like sort of, I don't know, decentralizing himself. Like it's a sort of denoted Genova influence. There's a bunch of reasons that anime characters will do that, and it's usually because they've ascended to some level of evil. But the Edge of Creation Sephiroth, who is like kind of gentle and nice to Cloud, like grabs his hand all warmly and is super thirsty with him. He uses Ore, and if you want more explanation on why that is, go over to the YouTube personality Sleep Easy's channel and watch 12 hours of explanation on the subject. But the bottom line is,
I would say like, oh, maybe there was just I don't know, maybe they just forgot. But like I've seen some of the connections that, like, especially even the localization team has drawn, like some of the connections that I've seen Sleep Easy drawn, like even like for like the thing in Dirge, there's a scene where Reeve is talking about the Whispers, basically.
Right, the cries of the planet.
Like, the cries of the planet.
Yeah.
And Aerith at the end of 7 Remake says like the exact same dialogue.
Yeah, the Whispers
like,
aren't actually new.
Fucking same. Yeah. No, it's like the dialogue she uses. It's like there's no way it's not intentional because it's like the exact. It's almost word for word. And it's not even like, oh, you're extrapolating. She's just using basic words. It's like, no, it's like they're saying the same thing. Which is, so I think even, that's what I kind of like. You're able to kind of dig into him using a certain pronoun as to denote, well, this is when he's from.
There's so much lore. This was like the juiciest lore thing, and then you also look at the Square's official books on the subject, which the Ultimanias. Each title gets its own Ultimania. Remake has gotten 2 in the same year, and both have been rife with like bizarre data. But one of the things that they say about Sephiroth is that there are four forms of Sephiroth that we encounter in Remake. And the fourth form, which is just denoted as 4 question marks, is the one that we encounter at the end. And it is described as a version of Sephiroth the party has never encountered before. And so what that actually means is up to a bunch, there's a lot to interpret, but I'm of the mind is that he absorbed the negative life stream, which is the Whispers, and again, this is a huge deal. The Whispers, I believe, the Whispers that we encounter in Final Fantasy VII Remake are Genova's corrupted life stream. Right, so Genova has corrupted the live stream. That's why, like, one of the Whispers, called the Enigmatic Spectre, has that purple glow, uses Sephiroth's voice to speak to Cloud, has all of Sephiroth's attacks. Like, a bunch of stuff points to the Whispers as we see them. Like, they're black cloaks. They're basically, like, floating reunion clones.
Right, when I initially saw them, I'm like, oh, they're changing what the reunion clones look like.
Exactly, yeah.
I was like, oh, they're changing them to be more magical. Cool. But then I was like, wait. There's no way that has to be intentional.
And that's another thing. Like, it felt when you first played the game, or at least most people said this. I didn't actually feel this way, but a lot of people said, like, I didn't really see anything feeling too weird until the very end. But, like, there's Whispers in Chapter 2. Like weird stuff is happening in the beginning, and
right, like as you're about to go on I'm pretty sure Cloud wasn't going to go on the next bombing mission, but then they made it so Jessie hurt her ankle, so Cloud had to go or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Whispers injured them.
No, Cloud, you're supposed to go.
Yeah,
Cloud.
You're supposed to go. Yeah, and then if you look
early
at
on, I'm like, these are like some kind of lore police. I don't buy this. Like some.
And then if you look at the assessment for the actual like 3 harbingers that you fight, Whispers, Rubrum, Viridai, and Croseo, they say that they're from a future timeline. They're here to protect the timeline that gave birth to them specifically. And then you find out in the Ultimania that it's confirmed in both Ultimanias that those 3 characters are supposed to represent the remnants of Sephiroth, which are Laz, Yazoo, and Kadaj. And so it's this big whole clusterfuck. But here's the point I was going to make with that. Here's how that relates to hard mode. In Remake Part 1, like, you kind of don't have, and you don't know what, like, your first playthrough, you like know it's going to be a little different, but you're kind of just like brushing aside, the strangenesses that you're seeing. And a lot of times you don't notice them because you don't think they're going to be important or valuable. Hard mode is created in a way that it incentivizes you to replay, not only for the combat, but to re-experience this very lore-driven, super hidden plot stuff thing. And I'm not sure Remake Part 2 is going to be as heavy with weird, like plot secrets that it's not like you're going to be looking for these deep Easter eggs for replay value the same way. Or at least I hope not. I hope the scale is larger. So you're not going to have to keep replaying it over and over to get the experience. I mean, I probably will anyways, but...
What are the 4 Sephiroths? I'm imagining, okay, one must be the one that is in Cloud's mind, like just his own...
Yeah.
Like his own, like, mental turmoil dealing with that, so not real.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Second one, I feel like the second one has to be the actual Sephiroth, the one we see. Is that the one we see walking around Shinra HQ?
Those are Genova clones, right? So we see Genova clones. We see a vision that only
right.
Yeah,
like in the original though, they're not actually Sephiroth.
Sephiroth we see is the one at the end.
Yeah, that's the one that the only one that is like
current Sephiroth's in the crystal.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
he's sealed up.
Yeah,
taking a nap.
I think that's him. Personally, I think that is a Sephiroth that has been informed by generations of a cycle on loop, but he is in fact
isn't it like the one at the end of Advent Children? Is that right? Or like
I think it's
the
even
one from Advent, pretty much.
I think he's better than the one from Advent because he's now got his own personality again. Like he absorbs Meteor and like all that negative life stream, and then after he does that, he refers to himself as Ore, as I, and he has this grand plan for Cloud. So whatever.
As soon as that
is.
happened, he very much like I don't think it could be understated how it's immediately. It feels like a different person,
yeah.
But
And
like, even in the way, even when you fight him, you're just like, this is different.
Yeah, it feels weird, and and it's a testament to the performance of the VA, the English VA in particular, did a really good job.
Kills it.
Yeah, Tyler Hoechlin did great, and that's probably my most divisive take, by the way. Like the take,
really?
Yeah, everybody,
someone that harasses one of my friends, literally
liking that VA.
every single comment, every single video she puts up will have a comment from this guy that's like, "How dare you like this new voice actor?"
Yeah,
it's like,
what?
That's him.
Bro? What the fuck?
That's him.
Right?
That's him.
That's ridiculous.
I'll tell you about him off stream.
I think he does amazing.
Yeah,
he's great.
I personally, I still have more of an attachment to the one that was at Event and Cage too. Just because he sounds so over the top, like a fucking villain.
Yeah,
but
he's
I think I love both, but I'm a lot like I have a preference, obviously. But
he you know what? Honestly, he's too old now. Like that guy's like in Law and Order.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, he's like in Law and Order. He's like an old guy in Law and Order.
Sephiroth's in Law and Order. Oh no. But still, they both do like fantastic. There's no one in Remake where I'm like bad choice, except for Zach. Maybe I think OG Zach would have.
He's
maybe
pretty
Zach
divisive.
One, but he's only in at the end. Sounds a bit nasally.
And I'm willing to give him a shot.
Oh yeah, no, we'll have to see how it goes. Nothing's as bad as Advent and Cage 2 Aerith, I don't think. I don't know if that's voice direction or the voice actress.
I'm going to tell you something about Sleep Easy. Is unironically, he told me this. Like he's like, my favorite Sephiroth voice was whoever was Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts Part 1. And then he looks him up. And he's like, I think his name's Lance Bass. Yeah, Lance Bass. Like, do you not know who Lance Bass is from NSYNC? You didn't know that's Sephiroth? He had no idea.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Who is this?
For Cage, what? It's that's why there's jokes about Sephiroth being in a boy band all this time. No, NSYNC. What the fuck?
I've never seen that joke in my life.
Bro, you're older than me.
Are you? Okay, what's happening right now?
You've never. Hold on.
Wait.
Whoa. Hold on. I was homeschooled. I didn't see the outside world for like 20 years.
Did you have the internet?
No.
Bio.
Oh well.
Bio. Be honest. Are you in the Terrier timeline right now?
Might be. He's in the wrong timeline.
We don't have NSYNC in Terrier timeline. It's Backstreet Boys or bust. No, I didn't mean to make fun of you for that.
No, I don't care. No. You're good.
You know who I think should voice?
I forgot Cage 1 was that voiced by that person.
I didn't even know Cage 1 had a voice actor for Sephiroth.
But when you're fighting, I don't think he talks. I still never fought that Bice.
You know who I think would make a great
he
Zach?
Too hard.
A great voice for Zach in Remake. Tatsu.
Who?
Tatsu. I think he would make a great
as Zach.
Yeah, you'd be a great Zach.
Oh boy.
I thought you said Sephiroth.
The price of Remake Part 2 is steep. He sounds like Phineas from Phineas and Ferb in the remake. I don't know. I can't get that out of my head. Every time I try to think of him, he just sounds like Phineas from Phineas and Ferb. Every time I watch that cutscene. I don't know how accurate that is.
Yeah.
My brain, I'm just like, that's Phineas.
So, I mean, okay, moving forward with part 2,
right?
And combat, should they add the jump button?
Thank you, Michael.
No.
Holy shit, that's weird. Someone being like, "You have a nice voice for Zach." Sorry, that's really weird. I do appreciate that though. I don't think a jump button's necessary. Why would you need a jump button? You don't need one.
Especially like with the
what's it gonna do?
And I keep pointing to this because I think they started out with the combat the way they did to show this. Was Yuffie's air combat?
Yeah.
Like, it's so fast, and you rocket back down to the grounds. Like that for me, like they pointedly made that the first bit of combat you see to show, hey, we
can make aerial combat without a jump button.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, all of the combat choices that they did for that was to show, hey, like we're building on this, and I'm really excited for that.
And I think I think this is something I hear from KH players more than anything is that I don't want a jump button in remake, and it's because I think I really
platforming in remake. There's no reason to have a jump button.
I want this.
I feel like 7 remake and Kingdom Hearts are already so compared that adding a jump button.
Yeah, it would make it worse. Yeah.
There's no reason. Why do you? When are you ever going to be like, man, I wish I could jump right now? Like, I guess to initiate air combos, but I feel like, okay, enemies in the air, you're going to do an air combo.
I would hope.
I think I would hope so. Yeah. Well, that's the idea. I think adding a jump button, like, I guess there's no reason to not have it. It just feels kind of unnecessary. Like I've played, I don't know, I don't remember, I can't remember specifically, but I feel like I've played games before where you can jump just because they feel like they're obligated to put a jump button in, but it serves zero purpose. I've played so many games like that. It's like I don't understand why you'd need to jump.
I feel like that takes away from the tactical nature of 7 remake. For 7 remake, you have to think of like you guard, you dodge, or you take the hit. If you add like jumping in, I feel like that circumvents like 2 of your combat options that they want you to use.
And you could also counter Tatsu.
What?
You can also counter Tatsu.
Yeah. Look, before I start my hard mode, can't I go back and get counter?
I guess. Do you want to be like that?
You want to be fucking weird about it.
So for context, Bio, who's wondering why the 2 people on the same podcast with him are being passive aggressive towards each other. During Tatsu's remake playthrough, which is insanely watchable. I don't think there's anything more enjoyable than watching
a very big compliment.
No, I'm serious. I've like sometimes I'll be sitting down and I'll need to figure out like, hey, I've gotta like rewatch this scene. Should I just play it? Or should I watch Tatsu play it? And I usually choose to watch Tatsu play it because it's very fun. Very, very fun to watch. So, but during said playthrough,
I find those genuine, like infectious attitude kind of YouTubers. Like it's always people that fake it. I think that's why Tatsu.
Whoa, do Barry! Whoa! Like, shut up, bro! Fucking Sephiroth! Oh my god! Like no, I hate that shit. I've had some people be like, I can't wait to see you react to this. And I get to them like, oh, that's it? I'm like, okay. I'm like,
yes. Sorry, I'm not your reaction clown. God.
Yeah. I still have the VODs for the original FF7, but it's only like half of them. Actually, I have like almost all of them. I should just upload those.
You should upload them.
Anyways.
But so he had this purist idea of like he had to end the last chapter with the Buster Sword. And so, like, as soon as he got the twin blades, which gives you the counter stance attack, which is not just the coolest attack. It like changes the way that you play the game. Like, it's very like essential to the experience, especially once you get to hard mode. He's like, no, Twin Stinger's not gonna fuck that. Like, he just went straight to, And so he just played the whole game.
That is not what happened. No, I didn't pick it up and go like, fuck this weapon. No,
okay,
I didn't, like, throw it out.
I may have added a little bit of dramatic flair. You know what I did? What it is I added my experience to it, which is that I suggested it slightly, and a group of people that I didn't know suggested that I was a bad person for suggesting it, and so I have different experiences.
No, that's not what happened.
That is what happened.
What happened was I picked
it
up.
What happened was,
and what happened was I knew I was reaching the end of remake part 1 because I knew I was told it ends once you leave Midgar, and I'm like, okay, we're about to reach the bike scene. So I was like, okay, I kind of just want to have the Buster Sword because it's so iconic. And I just like the weight and feel of it, even though all the attacks are the same. I like the way it handles. It just feels better. It just feels correct. And I was like, sure, I could level this up now, but I kind of want to, if there's a cutscene, I want to have that equipped, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'll grab this later. That's all I did. And people were like, no, like you need the ability. And I don't have any problem with someone being like, you might want to get that because you won't be able to get it later.
Yeah, like a missable.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that. It's just like, if I'm like, no, that doesn't mean I'm like mad at you. That's not like I'm in the
Tatsu, you were
like,
so mad at me. I don't know why you're acting like you're not furious.
You better stop fucking backseating right now. No, I think it's only backseating if you're like,
don't know what you're doing.
I don't know. If you're explicitly like you're doing it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Unless I'm asking like, how the fuck do I do this? But no, I'll get counter later. It looks very cool. Great ability. I'm excited to. Do you think all the weapons? Okay, if materia gets stolen, do you think weapons are out too?
Man, I
think
hope
you're gonna
not.
have to keep the weapons.
I hope not. Yeah,
right?
I hope they figure that out.
Going back to just braver is gonna be like, ugh.
Yeah,
feel very limited.
I mean, and if you're a lore purist,
that's why I think we'll have to have a separate character that introduces weapons and abilities, and then we'll get to Cloud.
A Zack training montage would be sick.
Would it? Describe how that would go.
Cool. A Zack training montage?
Yeah.
You already hate it. You already hate it. He hates it. No, I don't know. Like, what if just for tutorial's sake, it flashback. We're back, and it could set up. It's setting up for his gameplay if we ever get him in the party for whatever reason, right? Or we play as him at some point. It's Crisis Core, and you're in a training simulation.
Okay, modulating phase.
Yeah, modulating phase. It does that. Or I don't know. Or he gets to Midgard. Maybe he has to fight off more soldiers and then dies at the beginning of the game. And that's the tutorial. I don't know. I think Zack would be a good conduit for that.
You know what would be cool?
It's like,
what I think would be cool is if they started and you're like in the Nibelheim flashback. So like you like
ooh.
you know, like it kind of skips the journey to Calm or like does it, you know, retroactively. And so as you're going through the Nibelheim flashback, remember Cloud is like level 1. You know, Cloud doesn't know anything, and he's like a 16-year-old that doesn't know anything, and he gets his ass handed to him. But Sephiroth's there, and you get to play as Sephiroth. It'd be cool to kind of have Sephiroth reintroduce the battle mechanics.
I like that better.
I'm sure other people have thought of it.
I think that'd be a bad idea because I think that the best part. I don't think you should be allowed to play as Sephiroth. Because the cool part was you can't control him. Yeah. You're just like, I'm gonna hit this dragon, and you go, yeah, and it's like 3 damage. You're like, nice, and then Sephiroth sneezes, and the dragon explodes, and you're like, oh, okay. Like it really makes you more afraid of him.
Man. Yeah, but like if I'm just saying,
the beginning of that game is gonna be weird.
It's gonna be a tough game to begin, and who knows how Intergrade's gonna play into it, because it's unclear where Intergrade begins and ends. I kind of think that it'll begin and end within Remake, but Nomura was real cagey in his interview about it. He said basically that it's meant to be that the title Intergrade was chosen because it's meant to be a midway point between part 1 and 2. And intergrade is actually a biological term, a biological ROXAS term, and it's genetic. Like when, okay, I just gotta ask, like when your wife is mad at you, or when your mom is mad at you, and they say yeah. Do they say your full name? Do they say biological ROXAS? Biological ROXAS, get here right now.
I always thought it would be like biohazardous ROXAS.
Oh.
Yeah, I just think I'm toxic.
Wow! Oh my god!
Oh, oof! I didn't.
You bust out some of those tactics right now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyways, go ahead.
Oh no! I think we nailed it. I think we solved remake, guys.
Yeah, I think we figured it out.
Well, what do you think?
Okay, if you start out with all the items and abilities that you have at the beginning, though, where is that growth period?
There's still so much that wasn't in remake.
I know, but like but say
level
a new
1,
what do they do?
That comes from that I think the importance in party members is greater now than it was before because they fill roles. They're not just like, hey, I'm here to hold your materia and maybe do one
so you're saying
limit.
So you're saying that the difficulty spike is enough that if new players, people who didn't play the first game, and don't have a save to carry over, if they got like a generic set of stuff, that the difficulty spike will be enough that it won't be super jarring for their experience.
Yeah, right. Like it can't start where remake ended, because if someone jumps on,
right,
and they have 5 different weapons with 4 or 5 different like level up circles and like 20 sets of material, like that's overwhelming. So like they have to somehow reset.
Yeah, and
you know what? Would it be cool if they gave you an option to like carry over or start over?
Well, I think.
But then how do they start over? Like how do they set that?
What does start over look like?
Start over would be all your weapons are like all the
like weapons. You're just trash.
Start with all your weapons.
Yeah, you're just straight trash.
I would hope there'd be a way of like scaling it, maybe like similar to how in hard mode you need a save file to be able to for hard mode you go into it not being level 1,
and so
instead of it starting you in hard mode.
What about the player that wants to play remake part 2 but doesn't want to play in hard mode but wants to bring their stuff over?
That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be hard mode. It'd be a continuation mode. A continue option.
So then they're just overpowered through the whole game?
No, it'd be scaled.
But then if someone that doesn't want to doesn't have a save, is it also scaled for them?
It'd be scaled down to whatever that's what I'm saying. So they could learn it at their own pace.
You're having abilities. But see, that's the thing. You can't scale. You can scale damage down. You can't scale you can't if you have like 10 abilities on Cloud. You can't scale all of that to the same level as if someone comes and resets.
I guess so.
Okay, and that's
I'm just trying to think of because I really just wanted to carry over. Listen, I'm excited. 30 years time when they release Final Fantasy Remake Complete Edition, when it's all going to be one continuous thing. I'm excited for that.
I think. Well, yeah, that does sound great. And I hope that we're all alive.
500 hours.
I hope that we're all alive when that happens.
Oh God, don't even say that.
I mean, just in terms of pure time. I think I've actually, I think I've talked about this with Tatsu. Yeah, like this big fear of fuck, I don't want to die before Intergrade comes out.
No, I'll have a game. I'll go to the store, pick it up, be on the way home. I'm like, I'm gonna get hit by a bus. I'm never gonna play this.
Someone that installed a handrail in their house when Shadowbringers was coming out for Final Fantasy 14. Because they were like, I can't die.
Really?
Installed all the safety.
Put a fucking handrail in.
I can't. Come on.
And that's the motivation to be safer in your life. I bought a bike helmet. I bought fucking knee pads.
I gotta
like,
make
I'm not today.
Gotta make it to Endwalker. Gotta Endwalk to Endwalker.
Ribs. I guess in OG FF7 that's kind of a thing. Like stuff scales if you're level 99 a little bit, like a decent amount.
Yeah, there is bizarre scaling mechanics in Final Fantasy VII. Stuff that's super obscure. Like, did you know that if you've ever done Omni Slash even once, Sephiroth is a much more formidable foe? Say for Sephiroth.
Really?
Yeah. If you've never done Omni Slash, you can generally one hit him with Knights of the Round. But just doing Omni Slash
I don't
once.
even know if that.
Yeah.
What does that summon look like? I'm looking it up. Never seen it.
Knights of the Round?
Never seen it. No, I didn't get it. You need to get like a gold chocobo.
Yeah. It's like a 2-hour summon. So we'll see in a bit.
It's a minute and a half.
Guess it's just you and me for a while, biological Roxas.
What is it? I'm curious.
No.
Everyone keeps talking about Knights of the Round. Like, what the fuck could it be?
They did such a cool like Knights of the Round for 14.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
Yeah.
Really? Does the summoner class get to use them?
I can't tell you.
Okay, well, sick.
So
it's just a bunch of like knights.
It's
beat the fuck out of the enemy.
The Knights of the Round. Yeah, it's just that there's a damage cap, so like it'll do a pretty smooth 120.
It does like 999 like 10 times in a row.
So
they look like mechs, anyways. Sorry.
Yeah, they do kind of, but they're probably etc. So I'm kind of with you, Bio. I think that they're kind of forced to just give you like a generic set of something, or have some way to completely level the playing field.
I just think they did so much. They did so much marketing for 7 Remake as, in kind of 15 used the same kind of marketing of like, this is for OG fans, but this is also for new people.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think they're gonna keep pushing that for part 2. Like, obviously there'll be incentive to play part 1 before part 2, but I think they're gonna keep pushing this thing of like, this is for everybody.
If they
have such a different,
they've kept it super close to the chest, how they're gonna handle that carryover, right? Like
they don't. Honestly, like if you read the original Ultimania, it sounds like they hadn't even figured it out yet. Like
sounds about right.
Like they didn't even know how many parts it was going to be.
Figure it out.
Nah, I don't think so.
They didn't know how many parts it was going to be, like the whole thing, and leadership has changed since then. Like,
I think it's going to have to change because of how long the project is.
Yeah, I think they don't want to say how long it is because one, that makes, if they set a thing, then people will be like, oh, I just have to wait for 4 to come out and then I'll buy them all. So I think that like,
so there's a financial incentive. Yeah, that's possible.
But
yeah, I think that's possible. I think that Mass Effect is kind of like, it's kind of one of those like, how do you carry stuff over templates, and the way they did Mass Effect was great for people that skipped the first ones, but felt really like it cheated you if you did play. It was a really tough balance to strike.
I played the first one, but I kind of rushed through it because I'm like, yikes, this sounds like it's not enjoyable.
I didn't actually,
but I played it recently. So.
Oh really? I goated it. I like straight did everything. I play games.
I'm gonna do that when the Legendary comes out,
and
I hope it'll improve some of the gameplay because it's that much like Remake. That game, especially the first one, it's not an action game. It's an RPG.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. There's no 360 no scoping in Mass Effect. Come on.
No, and I was approaching it as a third-person shooter. And I was like, this kind of sucks.
I did too.
It does. It sucks. It's like you're not meant to because everything it's supposed to be an like not an MMO. Sorry.
And then you just
be an
pick
RPG.
a sniper to be a one-shot kill for everything, and then you're fine.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stealth. Stealth is always broken. When's the stealth build coming into?
Yeah. Where's remakes? Yeah, Yuffie. Yeah.
I like that. I do really like that they got rid of Mug as an ability. I don't know if they'll bring that back. but I feel like I always didn't like Mug in the
That's what you
original.
think.
That's a very specific.
Is it in remake? That's very specific, yeah. But okay, because when Steel upgrades to Mug, you have to get rid of it because Mug attacks the thing you're trying to steal from, and you don't want to kill it. You want to steal from it.
Right.
It's only good if you've already stolen everything you've ever wanted, and it's like I could go for some extra like ethers or whatever.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
You're like I don't even know how to deal with that observation. What a shitty observation. How do I deal with that?
I think there's gonna be Mug. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Tatsu, but
fuck! Damn it! I'm mad now.
I think remake part 2 is broken.
Dude, I see Mug in that game, bro.
I'm fucking deleting it.
I'm done. I'm just gonna be pissed.
I'm checking that game's pulse.
I know
with
that's
a
really
razor
specific,
blade.
but I was like, that's annoying. I wonder because there was a lot of material that was broken in the original. Like there was a lot that I got, and people were like, just don't equip it; it doesn't work. Or like the one that you could use multiple items.
OW item.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, there were like infinite damage builds and stuff like that that were really, but you know, some of those were so hard to pull off. And I mean, there were glitches too that were fun. I mean, there's a damage overflow glitch that both Barrett and Vincent had where you could one shot like the emerald weapon. And those were nuts. It was more fun with Barrett because you need to like master 8 Knights of the Round materias. And in order to get the overall AP that high, but with missing score, that was fun. But and there are some like it feels like with remake they did so much in terms of mechanics to build like all these weird and interesting ways to play. And this is something that Blitz goes over a lot, but like self-destruct builds are really fun. Like if you have the right materia combination with self-destruct builds, you can survive the self-destruction, basically heal yourself with said self-destruction, and refill your limit break all in once. And and there's a bunch of weird, like super crazy ways to speed run. Like for a long time, I was tied with about 20 people for the top secrets at 1 minute and 8 seconds, and somebody recently posted a minute 7, and I'm like, we all hate that guy now.
Fuck that guy.
And
ruined it for all of us.
And and it just with all this, like they had this really well built system, and you can tell that the system is built to be expanded on. Like there's even limitations set on some of the materia that cannot be reached with the current amount of materia that's in the game. Like there's a magic up. You can only get 2 of those, and it says that it cannot exceed 100%, but the 2 that you get only get you up to 50. So there's like this built-in limitation for materia you can't even get yet. So it feels like they're trying to build a system that will move forward and scale forward. And so, like, I want all of those limitations. I want all the things that they built in Remake. And I think they did it so damn good that, like, they're kind of playing with fire by trying to, like, completely redo it for a world map or, something like that.
Yeah, I don't see them doing a world map.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's another good point.
I don't think. I think you'd have to be kind of like Dragon Quest 11.
That's
I don't know if you've played that, but it'd have to be like, even if it's not one continuous thing, like if you have load zones in it, if it could be all open world, that'd be amazing. But I feel like that is already such a monumental task. I feel like part 2 is gonna have to be. I feel like it's gonna be split by land masses. I think it's probably gonna end after Junon.
How many parts do you think there's gonna be, Bio?
I think there's gonna be 3.
3? 3 is a pretty common guess.
Yeah. I can't.
Man, I'm trying to think. But with how much they cram into Midgar, but Midgar is a huge city, I suppose. Like, there's so many towns in OG that are like 5 houses and 2 guys. So like, I guess it wouldn't be that hard to fit a bunch more in.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you build this expectation that like everything is going to be like Midgar, then it feels like it's going to be forever, but it really it isn't. And it also, like, I don't know if they're going to cut Fort Condor or not, but they might, or they might like kind of make it as something that you see.
Have they said that they're going to do like discs, like physical releases of the other games?
Like you don't. What do you mean physical releases? Like, are you saying like are they just going to be DLC?
Yeah, like have they actually come out and said that it's not going to be DLC?
They've confirmed it enough that we know that it's an independent project with its own title.
Gotcha.
So
just like 7 remake integrate, or
no, it's going to be called Part 2.
Okay.
So I was
going to say they could do something like 14 did, with like each expansion built out another 10 levels.
That's a CBU 3 thing. I don't think we're going to see that with CBU 1. I mean, I would be down for that, to be honest, if they just like kind of released it in patches. I think they'd get it done quicker that way, but I don't think that's what's going on. I mean, but we do know that, like, on topic of Fort Condor, we know that that's probably a mini game in Intergrade or in Intermission, so specifically.
Wait, this was a side thing?
Fort Condor?
Yeah.
In the original, did you ever do Fort Condor?
I did.
With like the fucking
weird
defense?
Yeah, weird tower defense game, yeah.
Okay, well, no, don't you go there for something story related, but there's an entirely separate thing that's...
Yeah, but you have to actually play that game in order to get, like, the huge materia. Like...
Oh, really?
Yeah, and...
I'd done it before. Okay, I didn't
know. I feel like... and it sounds like that tower defense game is turning into a board mini game that's going to appear in Intergrade as part of the Intermission DLC.
That'd be cool. I mean, if they can make it not shit, I don't know. It wasn't fun when I played through it. I'm sure there's like, I'm just bad at it.
No, it was terrible. Right. It was like universally hated.
Okay, it's not good. Great.
I think. Well, I don't want to say universally hated. About it. I guarantee you somebody's gonna. By the way, guys,
how dare you make fun of Fort Condor, my favorite part of FF7.
I have not been watching chat as much as normal because my head hurts so bad. So I'm so sorry if I've skipped. Yeah, I know. I got to get these goddamn streamer lights off. Turn on these Christmas lights in my spare bedroom. So let me look at some of these. Okay. Okay. They can't cut Fort Condor, all right. Sector 6. Hey, Sector 6. I'm sorry I didn't notice you here. Sector 6 is going to be a guest of mine next week, as a matter of fact, along with Viz. You should check out his YouTube channel. He's a content creator. He's got some edgier takes, and that's why I like him. And so please follow him in the interim, and I'm going to have more announcements for his stuff. And don't worry, Sector 6, I'll have a much more structured conversation with you, and hopefully not a migraine, and hopefully none of the guests bail. But yeah, Fort Condor is probably like I think that if it's going to show up in part 2 of Remake, it'll be like in a less, I don't know, like in a diminished capacity. Like it'll be a location that maybe things happen at, but you don't go play that game at. Like, I think taking the weird mini game out of Fort Condor's plot is probably good for the game and the narrative, in my humble opinion. And there's a lot of stuff like that I actually think that like really probably won't make it like as much as we want it. There are some things that I think people will riot. Like if we don't see Nanaki in a sailor outfit, people are going to lose their mind.
That's the guaranteed going to happen.
Yeah.
Like there's no way. Because they want to highlight the parts you remember most. And a Nanaki sailor outfit, that's top 10 moments right there. That's for sure. That's a fucking Oh, I'm just excited to play as him. I really hope they don't go like these characters are support characters. There's no way they're gonna do that because every character is someone's favorite.
They actually kind of confirmed that. They confirmed in July in the Famitsu
that he will be playable.
That he's going to be playable. He's actually playable via like save game editor. Yeah.
One of my friends actually
really
we got to play around with a lot of his.
How was he?
I think I did a Nanaki breakdown actually because
what?
Yeah.
No way. Okay, hold on. YouTube.com/.
I called him Red 13.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. How dare you?
That's what everyone knows him as.
This is when you use your scolding voice on him.
ROXAS Red 13. Oh my god, you did.
Yeah.
How dare you, Biohazard
That was when
ROXAS.
I've obviously not watched any of this because this came out before I'd played it.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think your video is the first time I saw somebody doing that.
What the fuck? He's running through the streets. This is nuts.
It's cool. I mean, like
he's just running around. He's just in Walmart. He's just hanging out.
You could tell he's almost fleshed out as a character.
He looks good.
Yeah.
Even when you see him attack, I mean, he has like basic abilities. He has a full on like semi combo. He has a guard. I think like it's crazy.
Man, I love Square games so much. Or I don't know if it's just a Kingdom Hearts Final Fantasy thing. Maybe just I'm used to it in Kingdom Hearts where it's like
here.
Huh?
Have you are you familiar?
So I'm just talking about I like that you can mod in like, hey, you can play as Axel now, and you're like, oh, it just works. Okay. Like I like that I love that that's a thing.
Yeah, no. Well, can't play to wait to play.
They publish.
Yeah.
They have top tier people that they work with. Because Square Enix is just a publishing company, from what I understand.
Interesting.
No, I guess Square Enix has no. I'm a liar. Don't talk to me. What? Don't listen to me.
What a liar. Sorry, I'm enraptured by this gameplay of the Naki right now. Oh, okay. There he is. His body's deformed. Okay, I got it.
Things go wonky.
Yeah, of course they would.
Things go wonky.
Sorry, anyways.
But he's almost done. Like to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if if maybe there were more to integrate than meets the eye, and maybe we get a little teaser at playing Red 13 in a boss rush mode. And I'm just saying that here on stream so that if it happens, we can come back to this stream and reference what a god I am of predicting things. And then if it doesn't happen, who cares? I didn't say it. This is whatever. I had a migraine. So, okay, so now's a good time to Billy Bob and what's that?
Did we ever get to talk about combat?
Well, okay, tell me about. We basically talked about combat. What's your favorite thing about the combat in remake?
You can go first if you want, Bio.
You want me to go first? I like how I always like when taps and presses do different things, and so that was a really fun mechanic to play around with because you could enhance your combo. Like I would always do a full combo, hold square to finish that off, or like press triangle to go into Punisher mode. And there were so many different ways to cut animations in half. And it wasn't like you were, because I always hate when like, not that animation canceling is bad, but like it always looks so blech.
Yeah, it looks janky.
Right?
Yeah.
So what remake did really well is like with Barrett, like when he's recharging, if you hold the combo out and then you press triangle at the end of that when he's reloading, it actually like cuts the animation in half, and then you also reload for your triangle.
Right.
Same with like when you go into Cloud's Punisher mode, I think you can go into like that berserk charge, but then you can like attack out of that, right? And so like there's all these things that they knew they were thinking about, and I don't know, I love that.
That's interesting.
Intentional animation cancel stuff that isn't really animation canceling because it's like planned. But I feel like I'm somewhat the opposite. I kind of like the more like arcadey look of like one move snaps into another. I don't know if that's because I like fighting games and stuff, and that's like it kind of has to be that way. But for remake for me, I think I don't know. I feel like it's generic to say I liked how tactical it was, but it surprised me with how tactical it was.
Right.
I felt like I was making more decisions than I was in original FF7, because I feel like for a lot of original FF7, for most fights, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna hit all of them at once with a big spell, and that was it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna beta my way through all of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it was basically like just use your biggest spell on all of the small enemies. So I liked in remake a lot that I feel like I needed to put a lot more thought, and they let. I love when games let you figure it out for yourself.
Sure.
They kind of let you. They'll like be like, "Hey, that hit that guy's tail" sometimes, but like, they're not obnoxious about it. And I liked getting to experiment with stuff, and I like that I could do like the at least in base game the builds you can do. It feels like just as free flowing, if not more, than the original.
Oh
I
yeah,
did basically this. I made basically the same build because I made Tifa. Like in the original, I made her like she was my healer, but she was like a strength build healer. So she was like a monk. She'd just beat the shit out of people. Like she'd like the highest base damage, but she would also have all the healing stuff. And I pretty much just did the exact same thing in remake, and it felt just as good.
Oh well, you could like do like air abilities with Tifa. Like if you jump into the air, I think, and no. Not jumping, because you can't jump. There's
you
something
do an air attack.
No, she would just follow. She would follow if you just have to hit the attack button, and if the enemy went airborne, she would just follow with the attack.
Oh, do you mean like if she uppercuts them?
No, there's something that she does, or maybe it's how you use your shortcuts, because like in battle you had to be locked onto somebody, I think, to do attacks.
Right.
But if you have shortcuts and you use those shortcuts, you can actually, like, you don't have to be locked on. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And so you can do well, and you don't need to be locked on for the triangle stuff. In fact, that can be a problem, like with like overcharge and stuff like that.
Right, yeah. I really like also how I like that with Barrett, because once he starts to use his no, it was overcharge. Overcharge, and the one where he just shoots a fucking flurry of attacks. Like you just like
Max Fury.
Like yeah.
Max Fury,
I like that both of those. Because he kind of plants himself when he does that, so you can't turn around fully. But if the enemies are in the same cone of field of view, if you kill one with it, or even if you don't want to, you can switch between shots. So with overcharge, you could actually, because he shoots 3 times, right? Or is it 4? I'm not sure, but each individual blast you could put on a different enemy if you were quick enough, if you wanted to. And like if it killed one, you could snap to one on the right, and he'd do like 1, 2, and then you'd shoot the last one at the last guy, and felt so fucking good.
And
because it didn't feel like he was wasting shots.
Barrett's another example too of like somebody that had just a ton of ways to play him, because his melee builds were actually super satisfying too.
I've heard. I've not even tried it because I was like, I like him as a range guy.
They're very fun.
I've heard they're really good.
Yeah. And the pressure stagger mechanics were really I think fun. Yes. And
yeah, it was fun figuring that out.
I think
that's a good way of making it feel turn-based, kind of, and like you having openings. So it's like they lost their air quotes turn. Now I can use all this stuff I've been saving, and it just feels so good.
Yeah, it
makes you feel smart.
It makes you feel tactical and capable at the same time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's turn to the audience real quick. If you guys want, first of all, thank you guys for being here with us.
Yeah, y'all are great.
Y'all are great. And please like and subscribe all of our stuff. One of the things I really like doing with Bio too is I like watching his streams, because when he, especially like I watched him like learn to play Nier this morning, and it was so fun to watch, because he's got one of the most like infectious like laughters when he like is enjoying a game mechanic. It's super fun to watch him like just really like he really likes Nier. And
I was kind of embarrassed. I got really really into Replicant's combat. Like it felt really good.
Oh man, it feels so good. He's feels
playing right now. You can't even see it. He's like...
How'd you know that? I thought I turned my status off.
Oh no, you're still live, Bio. Oh, that'd be funny.
He's still live on Twitch, just talking to me. No, and so I recommend you all when you get a chance to watch him play. It's fun to watch him enjoy a system or with KH3 and mods, like watching him. Yeah, the mods are really fun.
Nuts, man. Oh,
they're so nuts already.
I love seeing you break them. Bio.
Yeah.
I don't know how I do that.
It's such
a problem.
It's such a trait you have.
I know,
break
and
everything
I can't
you
get away
touch.
from it.
It's so funny. It's the funniest thing. Like even when you do rando, like you're like, oh, I'm on the world map. It's like, how the fuck did you do that? How did you do that?
It
doesn't make sense.
The mod worked so much that I just went into a data battle. Like I just went into one of the worlds and it was just like, no, you're fighting Xemnas now. And I was like, oh, I guess we're playing vanilla KH2.
Oh no. Oh my god. That's so funny.
Does the audience have any questions for us that you guys can formulate? Feel free to ask. Just maybe highlight the question. That's probably the easiest way for us to read. And I'm trying not to read too much because, again, migraine, etc. Okay. Getting into divisive territory. What could they do to ruin Remake? Katsu, go first.
Make it a dating sim.
What? That would be awesome.
That'd be incredible.
I want to take Barrett on a date. No, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like
I can go first if you want me to, because I have an idea.
I'm trying to think of something. Like I think. Yeah, you go first. I don't know.
There's a lot of stuff. He's got
it's
something.
too open right now. Like everything. They could do a lot, dude.
I think if they pivot and try to like I think there's a lot of people that had influence that were super vocal when it first came out.
Right.
And I'm really worried that that'll affect the development moving forward.
So stick to their guns. Yeah, you stick to their guns. Like whatever creative thing they had in mind, just keep going with it. Yeah, I agree. I
would rather have a full fleshed out story that's terrible rather than them try to go back and fix it.
Yeah, fan service it. Yeah.
I think for me it would be because I know that they set up the whole like, ooh, anything could happen now. I think if they really leaned into nothing at all is going to be the same as the last thing. I don't think that would ruin it for me, but it would kind of definitely sour it. Like if it's like they just skip stuff and it's like they're going and stuff out of order and it's like a completely new, like not even like they go to calm. Like I'm not talking like they go to calm and stuff's a little different. I'm talking like, let's go to the crater now. Like maybe not immediately, but like they do stuff that is nowhere near similar. I think that could definitely soil some of it for me.
Yeah. I'm with you. Do you three think the postponement of Union X's ending is related to Nomura's work on Intergrade?
No,
I don't either. I don't think Nomura's actually been doing that much work.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think there's different things you could draw like comparisons to. I could think they could draw comparisons between like some of Nomura's work and stuff he's had a hand in. But I think a quick way to ruin it is like, now you got to learn the Kingdom Hearts lore if you want to understand Remake. Like I think that would be an awful idea.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, that would be awful. Like you mean like like actually integrate the two? Honestly, if it's okay for Cloud to show up in Kingdom Hearts, it is not okay for Sora to show up in Final Fantasy VII.
He's not welcome. I love Sora, If I saw him show up, I'd be I'd be like, what is happening?
But that's always been like, that's, you know, kind of, I would be astonished if they did that.
Yeah, no.
So that's catastrophic to the core.
I've seen people like theory crafting like, oh man, what if this is linked to that? And I really hope it isn't. Just because, like, I think it's cool to draw parallels between stories, but I really, really do not want it to be like these are linked.
If they use Cloud, I think it'll be in the vein of like Kingdom Hearts. I think if they do anything, because like I think I made a tweet about this, but like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Cage 3, The World Ends With You, and Versus 13 or Final Fantasy 15, all have to do with like fate.
Right.
And so I think a big plot point of KH at some point is gonna kind of have all those other different characters converge in Quadratum, but
so
I don't think it would bleed over into 7 Remake.
Yeah, and I think that the World Ends With You definitely has a lot more, I think, two-way potential overlap than, say, Final Fantasy VII or any of the mainline Final Fantasy titles. Even 15, which is, you know, which at this point seems like it has a lot of space to be sort of associated with Kingdom Hearts because of Versus 13 being its basis, and now Versus 13 is essentially in universe.
Yozora, they're like, fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
Versus 13, Type 0 HD, and Final Fantasy 13 are all in this
Fabula Nova Crystallis. Yeah, the FNC.
And aspects of that are starting to appear in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, and
crazy.
Yeah, and Type 0, Type 0 is very tonally different from the rest of, like, that is the one that is the least like the other ones. Have you played have you played Type 0, Tatsu? Do you even know what we're talking about?
No.
It's
they kill a bunch of kids, like that's basically it.
But
what's Type 0?
It always repeats, and that's the common theme, is that no matter what they do, everyone dies. That's like
And
there was
The World Ends With You?
No, this is Final Fantasy Type 0.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I zoned out. My brain shut off for a second.
It was the final.
And I was like, did I just get it spoiled? Oh no! I was like, okay, cool.
So what happened is that it was the creator, the original scenario writer creator of Dirge of Cerberus, got his own Final Fantasy game and his own mainline title, and it was called Type 0, and that's what he ended up doing with it. That's the only tie to remake, is that the creator of Type 0 is the Dirge of Cerberus guy, and it's specifically why those things feel weird. So, but I think I do want to clarify Ars's question real quick. He means specifically, why did the Union X chapter postponement happen? Like the mobile game, like they decided to push that back 1 month or whatever.
And I can speak to that a little bit, because I think it's because the store was too big.
Oh really?
Yeah, because they're not making money off of this anymore. I don't think you can buy jewels. There's no like financial reason for them to keep servers up. I think they just want to do the story justice and have it finish off well.
That's what I respect. I'm glad.
Are they going to tell us who? Watch them drop something super major, like the Master of Masters.
Oh no, it's good. Oh, I don't. It's going to be something ridiculous. Yeah. I'm excited. Well, they're going to have to re-release that entire thing in some way before the net. Like they're going to have to like make another movie, I guess. Like I don't know what they're going to do, because like they can't just be like, oh, you just got to watch the cutscenes on your phone. Like they can't do that, right? Because they, like with Recoded, they had to make a separate thing. I'm curious to see how they're gonna adapt that story into a piece of media that more people are accustomed to. I wonder how they're gonna do that, if at all.
You know what Final Fantasy 15 did with their Pocket Edition, which worked out really well, is they ended up, after all the gacha elements and stuff like that had expired and expended themselves, as they re-released it on the Switch as a standalone game.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, Pocket Edition is on the Switch.
What? Sorry.
That sounds sick.
It does. That sounds awesome.
The Switch is so good for like.
It's arguably better than the original
Ross was on the
game.
Switch. I would play it all the fucking time.
Whenever there's like an option from Square to get like something on PS4, PC, or Switch, I'm always like, Switch. I have the idea that I can take this around with me, and I'm like, I never do, but the idea that I can take it with me and play it wherever I want to is just awesome.
That's
I'm
a
still
really
gonna be sitting in a
idea.
chair, but I can look down instead of up.
Fair.
So that's the difference.
Fair. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we got here.
What? It is on Switch.
Oh, he fact checks me. You hear that, guys?
No, I've seen how much it is. Oh, they look kind of off, but what? Oh, I love this. This is so funny.
Okay, kill Tifa. Yeah, I said it, baby seal. Michael Trips. Okay.
I don't want Tifa to die, but I think if they
saw that theory,
I don't think I don't know.
Okay,
I don't see how that works.
Here's the problem.
Changed a lot about Cloud's plot development.
Okay, so I get it. I get the concept behind it. It's a high premise. Like, the idea is that an informed Sephiroth, one that actually knows what's going to go on, recognizes that killing Tifa would prevent him from making it out of the life stream. Like, we'd never regain himself fully. But that's where the premise, that premise stops working. Because then you've now created this narrative problem that is incredibly difficult to solve in an unconvoluted way. Because now Sephiroth is so grotesquely overpowered. You don't have Cloud. Cloud getting out through any other way, like getting out through Aerith, doesn't make sense because Aerith doesn't really know Cloud. Not really. Only through her weird live stream knowledge. So it isn't like a personal connection. It's this bizarre, like, otherworldly connection. So it loses its kind of touch. Or Zack. And Zack only knew him for like a couple of years and not very well, right. Even though they were like bros. Wasn't like somebody that understood what Cloud was. Like, it would be a surefire way of ruining that arc. So let's say he never has that arc, and so Sephiroth has this massive advantage. Ultimately, the game you do need to win the game somehow. And so, like, the only ways that you solve that problem are so dumb that it does border into that, like, Cloud, Genesis, and the party, and Zack and Angeal all team up and defeat Sephiroth with a sword made of friendship or whatever bullshit. Like, it gets so dumb.
Zora comes out of nowhere. He drops down.
Exactly. Yuzora.
There he is.
Yuzora appears. Nomura himself appears and helps you win. Like, it's kind of, I like the edginess of it, and I also think there's a the shock value would be high, but like, shock value alone isn't really going to carry this, So I don't particularly like. I joke about that theory a lot, but I do not think it's a good idea for them to kill Tifa.
I think it would just kill a lot of that. Immediately would make so many things dramatically different.
Yeah, and
too much so, I would argue, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. General question for the group from Miss Weinrib. Would you be interested in modding for FF7 to the level KH does? Yes, aggressively.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
aggressively.
Put remake on PC, you cowards.
Put a Dark Side Heartless in for the last
Do
boss.
it. Do it.
I would fight.
Don't be shy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would play the whole game as Zenmus.
Have you guys seen that? Someone's already. They've put the remake Buster Sword into KH3, and it looks so good.
Oh, really?
It looks. Hold on, let me pull it up. I sent a picture of it to Sleep Easy because I was like, huh? Now you gotta play it. Now you have to play it.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
He did mention that. Yeah.
Shit.
That sounds great. I mean,
yeah, it looks crazy. I don't know. I don't know if you're able to put it on stream. I mean, you don't have to. It's your stream. But I don't know. I don't want to be like, you should put that on stream, and it's like you don't want to. I think I don't know.
Looks
like
great.
I think it looks like it's not just like, oh, they kind of just there it is. It's like it looks.
I think
really
they
good. Like,
ripped it.
That's the same picture twice.
It looks like they ripped it from.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like because they have the
it's Unreal.
Whatever the last.
It's uncanny how perfect it looks. Yeah.
Engine.
What's that sword? Huh?
The Buster Sword.
They have the Buster Sword. They have another one too.
Oh really?
Like, twin
oh yeah, I thought they put that.
The Twin Stinger. I think they just ripped the assets because people have ripped all the assets.
Yeah, they're both in
Unreal Engine.
They're both in Unreal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think because have you seen like some of the Sekiro mods where they just put like Unreal Engine Cloud from Remake in Sekiro? You go look at it. It's like straight up. Yeah, you're like.
Can I post the link in chat to the?
Yeah, yeah.
Because Ribs was asking for it. I'll do the same for this one. There's a couple. It's just cool. Sora with the Buster Sword.
It is cool.
Yeah. And that's crazy. I love modders so much, man.
Yeah, I would
be down. I would be down just to like get high res versions of some of those textures because as great as Integrate looks, like I've been going one dot at a time, and they haven't fixed all the textures. Like there's a lot of fog effects over a lot of the textures that don't look good.
Do you guys think there's going to be a PC release?
Is that what it is?
Eventually.
I hope there's a PC release.
Of course, yeah, they'll have to do a PC release.
I know
probably
that
through Epic.
Square was going to get bought. Aren't they like?
No, that was
a rumor.
Someone made
that was a rumor. Okay.
Yeah.
It was a rumor that was probably true that Square would have to absolutely deny so that their stock prices don't tank. But
yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would hope.
Of course, after Bethesda was bought, of course, like Microsoft and Sony probably both approached them for acquisition deals, but that doesn't mean that Square ever even thought it was a possibility, you know? Because acquisition is, it's more complex than like you can't buy somebody against their will, and not always do people want to be acquired. And
no, and I think Square. I think before Remake, Square wasn't in the best position, but I think especially after Remake, it's kind of all eyes on them again. Like they're kind of back on top in that field.
Square's been doing pretty good.
14 would like to talk with you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, okay. I'm talking about leading up to Remake. Leading up to Remake, Square, there was a lot of weird decisions at Square. That's all I'm saying.
You know, Square.
At least from what maybe I don't know, and you probably know much more than I do.
Square's always been in a much stronger position than I think sometimes public opinion of them is. They have theme parks, dude. Like for COVID, they lost money on their theme parks division and Avengers. But other than that, like they're super flushed. Like they did great through COVID, and a lot of
Avengers didn't do well.
Avengers could have done better. Avengers
for the amount of advertising, we don't talk about that. Actually, I heard they're gonna put Iron Man in Remake Part 2. That's gonna be crazy.
That would be great.
It'd be nuts. Gonna put.
I was like, what? What happened?
Ribs actually has a good question.
I think it's a good question. Can you read it to me? Because I feel
based
like
on what they did for Honeybee Inn, what do you think could happen at the beach? Which I'm presuming they're talking about Costa del Sol. I I'm thinking there's gonna be, in the same way that there was like a dress thing, there's gonna be a swimsuit thing. You kidding me? Of course there is.
Hojo.
There's gonna be one for Cloud too. Dude, Barrett swimsuit. It's gonna be all over. I think it's gonna be great.
Hojo is gonna stand out as an absolute stud.
Is gonna be
like we're gonna figure out why Lucrezia chose
Lucrezia's
Hojo
crazy. Like, listen,
Hojo over Vincent.
There's gotta be something.
When
we don't know what's under that lab coat.
We're gonna see what that something is.
Let's see what that's all about.
We're gonna see the Hojo horse cannon. Okay.
Oh my god.
Well, all the titles they end with C. Like there's Dirge's Cerberus and Ever Crisis. So when we get to HC, it'll be Hojo.
They did a real good job of making.
This is a dating sim.
Hojo's horse cannon. Yeah, dating sim. Yeah, which I wonder what bizarre mobile genre will get tacked on for the Final Fantasy VI mobile game, because it feels like dating sim is all that's left. Like now that we have a battle royale game,
I think dating sims could be really funny and really good and a good addition if they leaned into it. Like, if you don't take it seriously and it's just like, this is ridiculous, then yeah.
I think that's the way to go. Honestly, I think that would eliminate a lot of this, the drama of the love triangle thing. I don't even want to say debate, because apparently I'm not supposed to say that. So, but whatever it is, I just think
floaty around Kingdom Hearts fans can't say that.
What'd you say?
You can't say floaty.
Sorry, I cannot let us say it. No.
No. What's the 7 remake equivalent?
Debate.
Love shipping. Yeah, you don't want to talk about shipping.
Yeah.
Oh, shipping. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it's such a big thing.
Okay.
I didn't. People get mad about that, dude.
Can you explain floaty to me?
Floaty. It's a made up term that nobody knows and just throws around.
A little bit. There's
a lag on some combos in certain games.
The idea is in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, you're always drawn, like Bio was talking about earlier, you're drawn back to the ground.
Right.
Because it's ground oriented. And in some of the games like Birth by Sleep and otherwise, like some of the handheld games.
I think it's just Birth by Sleep. I think Dream Drop Distance had a little bit, but the main focus when the word was created and when like all the debate happened,
Birth by Sleep.
It was Birth by Sleep.
Well, basically, because the idea was the combat. The best way people described it was the combat felt floating. That was the buzzword around it. And it's more just like that. People didn't like that after you finished an action in the air, you hung in the air too long, so they called it floaty. And there's and I don't know. I always joke around in my stream, like I have the word float banned on my stream just because I think it's funny. And then it's like anyone says we call it the F word, like you can't say that. Don't say that. We always joke, like we'll be playing like I don't know, like Draw My Thing or something. We're playing like Pictionary, and it'll be like I don't know. It's a bit of a float game, but a little bit floaty, not for me. And I don't know. I think the whole debate is a bit odd because it's like, what does that even mean? It's like, what are you talking about? But I guess it's much more different because shipping I've seen in FF7 gets scary.
So okay, I guess I'll just ask it. Who do you guys ship?
Tifa and Aerith. Did you see? Did you see?
That was beautiful. Listen. So good.
No, listen, Tifa and Aerith, because there's a scene where she's like, oh, I gotta go grab Marlene, right? She's like holding hands with Tifa and like looking at Tifa, so like the most in love with her, like it's someone hand animated that, and she's like fucking fawning over her. She's about to pass out. It's like
it's actually one of those scenes that like that sort of indicates to us that Aerith is taking her time, cherishing like what little time she has with these people because she knows, and I like those little character moments. I really do.
But if you want my ship with Cloud, then Cloud and Tifa. Okay. Personally, I feel like Aerith. I don't know about remake Aerith, but original Aerith's probably projecting a lot of what she saw in Zack on the Cloud originally. Oops, get mad at me, not at people here.
Okay, all right. So Tatsu's canceled. Okay, bio.
She is. She just redoes everything she did with Zack with him. I'm sure she could fall in love with him through that, but she was projecting. That's all I'm saying.
He didn't build any flower cards.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know what the correct term is.
I don't know. I like Cloud and Aerith.
Oof. Oh, it's over.
Do you got a separate couch I could sit on? I don't really want to sit on the same couch as this guy anymore. I like Aerith. No, I think it's probably also my bias because I just like Tifa. But it's like either are great. Either are so good. Like there's so many times, especially in remake, where I was like,
that's the thing where like
my faith is being tested. Oh no! I'm like, it's too cute.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think it's, I don't know. I think they just do character development really well.
They do, and the tone is way different than. It's one of the things too that I'm like, well, this is definitely not Kingdom Hearts. Is the way they develop characters feels like it's like a different writer is developing them, and I'm not even saying that development is bad for Kingdom Hearts characters. I'm just saying it's different.
I personally, I think I always found shipping Kingdom Hearts characters inappropriate because they're all like minors.
Oh, we're not talking about that. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just talking about character development. Okay. Yeah. Just how different the character development is in remake compared to, but yeah, no, definitely.
Nomura didn't write it, right?
I feel like for Kingdom Hearts, so for 7 remake, you have a lot of characters that they have these pre-built archetypes, right? Like like everyone knows who they are, obviously, because character and identity is a huge part of 7, but the characters are written so that you as the player kind of understands where they're at. And with Kingdom Hearts, there's so much more that's kind of left open, and it's much easier to project onto those characters, which is why you have such hotly debated ships around certain characters, is because of like how those characters are written, how people resonate with those characters.
Well, especially like there's certain characters who, at least in some of the recent games, are kind of a blank slate, like Kairi. But if you like look into the manga of Kingdom Hearts, Kairi's like a little goblin, and I love her. And she bites people. Like she fights like she grew up on an island with a bunch of kids because she did. Like she fights like a little goblin, and it's great. But it's not really about the. So I agree with that. Yeah, people put themselves on a lot of characters because a lot of the time they're just kind of like going through the motions.
That's true, and there's a lot less room for that in remake. So
remake, it's like about the characters.
Yeah,
it's much more a study of the characters and their interactions with each other. That's what makes it good. It's not the plot of bad guy wants to destroy the world, because that's been done a million times. That it's not even the bad company destroying the world using natural resources, because that's obviously been done a million times. It's the characters that make it more memorable. And Kingdom Hearts does that as well, but I'd say in a different way.
Yeah, and I think that you brought up a really good point that a lot of them are blank slates, and and so that allows for a lot more projection.
With enough to be like inspiring characters you can look up to. Like Sora was a fucking massive part of like growing up for me and how I thought about I should treat people, because I'm like, well, people like him, I want to be like that, right? So they still obviously have values and stuff, and they're still very clearly characters with motivations and goals, but they're the in-between stuff when they're just hanging out, you never quite get to see.
Yeah.
As opposed to remake, where in even original FF7, where it's fucking full of it. There's just a bunch of just talk. They're just hanging out, They're trying to figure out what to do next, but they're really just kind of hanging out.
So, how about we'll make this next question the last question, and then call it. I've hung on as long as I can. I'm sorry.
I was supposed to be asleep like 5 hours ago.
Thank you guys, by the way, for joining us from the other side of the nation, or a continent. What are you most looking forward to in remake moving forward? Like whether it's from integrate or future parts, what are you looking forward to most?
I'm mad about it. I'm prefacing with I'm mad about it, but my just Kate Sith. I'm honestly like I'm genuinely just excited. I'm mad. I'm mad about it because I think I'm really excited to see how they do that character.
Me too. Me too.
More than and just getting to play as all the other characters. I'm really excited to just play them more than to see what happens.
Have you ever really thought about how he controls the puppet?
Reeve?
Or Kate Sith? Reeve.
Well, no, yeah. I've looked into it. It's kind of like
he's
each Kate Sith. He's not remote controlling them.
No, he's a magically powered being, and they take no time explaining that. Yeah.
No, they don't. And I think it's really. And I was like, damn, this is kind of cool because I was really annoyed in the original FF7. Kate Sith gives this big fucking speech about this grand sacrifice he's making when you've just been told he's a puppet. So you're like, wait, he's just being remote controlled. That's like if I was to go in and die. We're playing fucking Fortnite and I die. And I give a big grandiose speech about don't forget about me, guys. You'd be like, what the shut up. What are you talking about?
You just respawn, you dick, yeah.
But in actuality, the way it works is there have been multiple Kate Siths. Like we're on like Kate Sith. By the end of Dirge, we're at like Kate Sith number 5 because one of them gets fucking sent to the Shadow Dimension by Weiss, I think, or his brother or something.
Nero.
Yeah. So we're like, there's multiple Kate Siths, and each one retains the memories of the previous one, but they're not the same entity, and they're capable. Reeve can like exact his will on them to do things, but I don't think he can explicitly control them outright. I don't think. And it's like they have their own thoughts and feelings. And I don't know if Mog is like that as well. And what I like is because Reeve has this power and no one fucking else does. No one's not touched on at all.
He's has the ability to like shut down reactors with his mind.
He's corked, dude. And they never talk about it.
Yeah, they never talk about it.
Kate Sith is actually scary. I've always, I'm sure this probably isn't canon at all, but at least my headcanon is that Reeve might not be the first actual version of Reeve or something. Or like, how do we know? Because if Kate Sith did it onto Mog or whatever, if he did both onto Mog, like maybe Reeve.
I like where this is going. Like there's going to be some Reeveception.
Reeve could be an ancient like fucking entity, like this ancient like 1,000-year-old thing that has passed himself down from vessel to vessel, but each one being its own unique thing. I don't know. I think that idea alone makes Kate Sith a cool character to me, and it's never fucking explained.
Totally.
It's probably not correct, but I love that idea. But yeah.
Yeah, and Michael Trips.
That's what I'm excited for.
You're right. Light kills me too, like these streamer lights. But it's actually pretty low light in here. I usually have an overhead light that brings out my complexion, and I don't have that on today, so I'm doing my best here. Bio, what do you think?
What something I want to see in remake?
What are you most
excited about for remake?
I'm really excited just to see how they keep building on the combat, because obviously personally I don't think it's just going to be, oh hey, here's the same attacks with Cloud and go have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's going to be something that builds on top of it while still staying true to the original mechanics, and I really look forward. Maybe that's like better, like more parrying options or more tactical options. I don't know, but
yeah, more parrying options I'd like to see, and I'd like to see other characers parry other than Cloud. I'm wondering
Tifa would have a really good Tifa with the parry would be really good.
Tifa does have a parry. Is that right?
Is she?
No, I mean she has some defensive moves.
There's a deadly dodge, right?
So yeah,
if you do that like kind of can parry with Cloud, I think.
If
but
you
for
do,
everyone else, it's like this weird dodge.
If you do deadly dodge, you can tie it to like recovery materia, and you can do a little health drain with it, and you do a little damage as you dodge. Like, but it isn't super.
With Cloud, though, if you dodge at the right time, you'll actually like stop an attack, right?
It's much better with Cloud.
Yeah,
and
for everyone else, like Aerith just does like a little like shoulder slam.
Yeah,
that's all she does.
But there is a parry materia though, and I think that's kind of the one you're thinking of. But it's not like Cloud has two. He's got his Punisher defense, which has that built-in combo, and then if you finish the combo, you get Fury as a status, which adds 30% damage bonus. Like, so it's an automatic, like, easy 30% on your limit break. I mean, it's really, really nice. And then the counter stance has the ability to turn so much damage around. It just feels really like a real counter. And it was a bummer that with Tifa in particular, like if you would do the solo bouts with like some of the fighting characters in the VR simulator, you didn't have that like block kind of. You just had to be so aggressive that you would demolish them, which is its own kind of like super fun. But I wonder if, and I think I'd be surprised if there wasn't some kind of parry for Yuffie, because she's the only character.
Like,
she's a fucking ninja.
And I didn't get to see too many situational things, but like your first combat with Reno with Cloud was amazing.
Oh, like, so fun!
Part, if you dodge at the right time, you like jump
over his head. Yeah,
Oh, it's so cool! Oh my god, it's the coolest.
I hope we see more of that, because that's always really cool.
I would love more. That's a good one. I would love more situational commands like that, like specifically. And
that was some of the finisher stuff I was talking about as well. I think like team finishers if you're next to each other.
Yeah, what I liked about the Reno one in particular is like they don't tell you that can happen. You just find out by hitting circle at the exact right time, and then you jump over his head. It's a custom animation. I love stuff like that. I like stuff that you can find out that they don't force feed you. You don't need to know it to like win.
Yeah, well, it's not right. It's not a mechanic. It's an environmental thing.
Yeah,
which like just. I love like any environmental cues or storytelling or mechanics, like those really build out like the experience for me. So.
Well,
but I don't want to keep dragging it on. And you have a migraine.
I know, and I'm so sorry, guys.
For the next hour, we're gonna turn the lights up for these questions.
I'm so sorry.
Put as many highlights in chat. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I think I am going to call it. Thank you guys so much for being here with me.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fucking.
And you guys are always welcome on. And if you see like a guest coming up that you really like, I will announce here that so next week I've got Sector 6 and Viz from Cosmo Canyon coming along. I'm sorry, not next week. The week after next. Next week I've got Night Sky Prince, Blitz, and Fish Ride Cat. The week after that I've got Sector 6, and then the week after that I've got a very, very special guest, a famed martial artist / filmmaker who famously had some great reaction vids and a great gaming channel called Fill Up, the Fill Up filmmaker guy, and I'm going to post links to his stuff. He's actually, of all the people that I've interviewed, he has the most YouTube subscribers. He's got the most online presence. He just got back from doing I know this doesn't sound Final Fantasy VII related, but he just came back from doing like the 7-month long like training stint in a Shaolin temple for Kung Fu. So he's going to be on, and we're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII. So it'll be great. But let's go ahead and call it so I don't die.
Thanks, Sleep Easy.
And thank you, Sleep Easy, for
time.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, he was muted the whole time. He said a lot of interesting things, I promise.
Yeah, it was great.
He's been lurking, right?
He's been lurking. I don't know, is he?
I think so. I'm sure he has.
He's not here. No, he's not.
Well, he's
not even.
He's busy doing some really good stuff. So,
what are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Sorry. Anyways, whatever.
Okay, so I don't know how to end streams, and so the easiest thing to do is just like raid people, and we're gonna raid Final Fan TV, who are great. And thank you so much for putting up with my terrible interview demeanor and headache. I love all of you.
No, not at
very,
all.
very much. And you guys, I appreciate it. You guys are great sports.
Thanks for letting me crash on episode bio. You can do that. You can start the raid now. It won't go until you press go.
I know.
But no,
wow, good timing, guys. Sleep easy.
I think this is episode bio ROXAS, but thank you for letting me crash it.
Yeah, and please go do
he
all the bio.
My super spike Getty.
Yes, I did.
So this is payback. I'm here now.
All right, let's raid, guys.
Thank you guys. Thanks for hanging out. That was awesome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.